wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the great...
Que pasa, loyal members of the Wrestle Talk Podcast family. To my immediate left, my co-host, my partner in crime, the Batman to my Robin, the sunshine to my morning, the one and only Gabriel Arsene, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise. Gabe, say hello.
Oh, man, Wrestle Talk Podcast. It's been too long, and I'm just happy to get started. And it looks like me and you got to carry the show tonight, Night Owl.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you take a look at these shoulders right here, Papa, I'm ready. I'm ready to carry my load, much like Monday Night Rollins has been carrying Monday Night Raw for week after week after week, bro. So we're going to do the exact same thing here on tonight's edition. Believe it or not, Gabe, episode 457 of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. As hard as it is to believe, we are inching a bit closer every single day to the elusive episode 500 of the Wrestle Talk Podcast, man. I know you're relatively new here, but you got to admit that's pretty effing impressive.
Oh, absolutely. To know that anything can reach even maybe a quarter of that is something to be, something to be proud of. But the fact that you guys are, not less than a quarter of the way almost done, like just to reaching 500. And then, once you've hit 500, where do you go from there? 1,000, 1,500?
I don't know. I never thought that Wrestle Talk Podcast would go this far. I'll be honest, come episode 500, it really all depends on the Wrestle Talk Podcast family. I feel like if we have enough members of the Wrestle Talk Podcast that are willing to fight for us to continue, we will continue on. And come episode 500, if we're not quite at where we need to be, maybe it's time to put the Wrestle Talk Podcast to rest and do something different. I don't know. Maybe we can cover gymnastics. Maybe, flag football is now an Olympic sport game, so maybe we can start covering flag football if that's what people want to hear about. But no, in all honesty, man, as long as the people, as long as the fam wants us to be here, we will be here. It's really that simple.
It really is. And I mean, like you said, we don't know if we'll be talking about wrestling in the future, but that doesn't mean we're not exempt from doing other stuff. I know you have a couple of people.
If we did an anime podcast, bro. That shit would be ill, bro.
I could talk about it. Look, I'm just saying, I haven't heard too many about pro wrestling anime, so just saying, could be me and you.
We could break some ground, baby. And here's what's beautiful. I don't think either of us claim to be subject matter experts. I think we're both very comfortable saying, hey, I don't know about this. I want to learn more about this, like you and tonight's guest, right? You're not all that familiar with Stephen E., but you've been doing your research. And you're excited to get a chance to talk to him, I'm guessing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just as somebody who's still, looking for that opportunity in the business, just to even get somebody from what I've seen, because the man, I mean, he's got his foot in the door, knows what he's doing, and got a couple people we could be talking about later. But I want to cross that bridge when we get to it. But
Oh, look at you! You are learning the game early, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they call a bit of a spoiler. It's a bit of a spoiler. That means we want to say stuff that's gonna make you want to stick around for later. I've seen comments here. What are we talking about here? Oh, hey. Okay, Vicky Guerrero wants to chime in. All right, hello, Renee. Been a hot minute. Yeah, great to see you, man. Love you. Joe Helms, big dog, doing big things. Nice to see you representing here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, man. A tremendous worker, hailing out of the Midwest, doing a lot of
fantastic profile picture out of Joe
what a badass. Well, when you got the goal, baby, too. Shout out to my man, Sonny Money Mayo. Belated birthday to you, my dog. I love you. Thank you for being here. Susie is always showing love. Bonjour to my man, Jared, former winner of swag here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And by the way, it's Night with a K, but I love you anyway, dog. It's all G. Who else is here? Okay, I can't see anybody else up top.
I'm glad to hear from Susie. We got a couple people from the FWWC, I hope, try to make it.
Yo, no doubt. Yo, my mind. Oh, so first of all, I think we already talked about the Night Owl part, so we'll just leave that alone. 7 Central Time, okay? 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for those who were not clear on the time differences, because my man Gabe actually is not in the Midwest. Just remind people, for those that don't remember, where actually are you in this beautiful country?
I am currently residing in Lady Lake, Florida, towards the West Coast, I believe. So, yeah. I'm so late.
So, like, give me the biggest town near you, like the biggest city in your vicinity. Is that like Tampa, Jacksonville?
It's Tampa, mostly Tampa. It's like an hour away. But
that make you a Bucks fan?
No, funnily enough, I'm a Packers fan, and it's a whole story in and of itself.
And we'll have to talk about that on our football podcast when we start.
Exactly. See, doors opening themselves, Night Owl.
That's right, man. Somebody cut the check, bro. We're ready. So fuck Central Time. Tell Gabe to move his arse to Missouri. I don't know, bro. The beach is fairly nice. Yo, Susie Hall's talking about she got arrested in Tampa. You'll have to come on and tell us that story, sis. Been a long time since you joined us on the air. Still wanted there? Hey, we will not give your government name here. We won't. But listen, we got a lot of shenanigans we're going to cover here tonight, man. Everything's going to be revolving around the world of professional wrestling. For those of you who don't know, we use the hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, hashtag WTP. We're on X, not the pill, the social media platform, for the sake of clarity. Okay, we're also on Facebook and on YouTube,
formerly known as Twitter.
That's right. The bird got turded on. Now it's X. Long story short, thank you guys for joining us. The show obviously would not be possible with every single last member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. But as much as we love the Wrestle Talk podcast family, we also have to give thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors, starting off with Royal Mills Transportation, Rathbun Engraving, Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Shout out to my man DBD. Just hit the stage this past Saturday. Vivo, big things, doing big things in the hip-hop world. Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs. They take care of our tumblers. And, of course, the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, as my man Hoss would say, the FWWC. Did I do a good job on that game? Did I hit that?
I'd say it's pretty close to perfect.
FWWC. Okay, real quick, Twin Cities in the house. Yeah, that's dope, man. I saw that you ran into Trish Stratus. So congratulations to you, Michael. Shout out to your YouTube channel, Michael's Corner. If you guys are not following Michael's Corner on YouTube, make sure y'all got holla at my boy. Matt Stockdale.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to the dude. Matt Stockdale doing big things over at Heartland Championship Wrestling, man. Glad to see you.
We got a lot of people in the audience tonight.
Hey, dog, I'm telling you, we got workers, we got ring announcers, promoters.
They knew we were here. They knew we were here. That's why they showed up.
Dang, bro. We're doing it real big like Bruce Lee, you heard? But yeah, Stockdale doing big things, doing things the right way, working with my guy Billy Simmons over at Heartland Championship Wrestling. That's always something awesome. Real quick here, without the sponsors, yeah, that's right. We wouldn't be able to give you no laughs. I do have some news about the Spartaners, right? The sponsors right after we get through these comments. That's right. I'm guessing. Yeah, that's right. We won't give your government name away. Yes, Michael's Wrestling Channel. It's not Michael's Corner anymore. My bad. I missed the memo. My apologies. Michael's Wrestling Channel on YouTube. Make sure y'all hit up my man over there. He's got great content, great interviews. A lot of like folks from Minnesota, Detroit, like that kind of, what do we call that? That territory? Is that, can we call it that, Gabriel? Can we call it?
It's a wrestling podcast. So yeah, territory.
Yeah. So he covers a lot of that. You know, we're mostly, well, we're really everywhere, but man, my man's got that upper Midwest absolutely on lockdown. Shout out to Herb Simmons. I was actually watching the latest episode
Good evening,
of
Herb.
SICW, man, the TV show. Did you get a chance to see any of that SICW stuff, Gabe? I know you were digging
I got to watch a little bit. I definitely got to watch a little bit on their YouTube channel. And I got to say, Big Texan, man, knows how to work.
That boy is nasty, bro. And it's also great. I think Herb will be happy to hear this. We've actually now got SICW fans in Western Florida. So, boom, the demographic continues to grow. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
That's right. And you said, okay. So I see, she said I did a good job too, Gabe. On the that's right, FWW.
If anybody knows, Susie does. She's his sister.
Yeah, well, Ixnay on the sister A. No, just remember, she's wanted in Tampa. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I do have a bit of news. You mind if I go solo screen for this one, Gabe? It's a very, very big announcement, okay?
Take the wheel, Renee.
Thank you. It's very important, and we'll move on. Okay, guys, you heard me talk about the sponsors just a few minutes ago, and we could not be any more grateful for all the wonderful sponsors that we have. They've all been with us for a significant amount of time, the newest one being Little Popeye Designs. But there does occasionally come a time where we have to separate from some of our sponsors, not always due to the fact that we want to do it, but sometimes it's circumstances that cause the change to happen. So allow me to make the official announcement that as of today, the limited edition Wrestle Talk Podcast mug is no longer available. That means that if you miss your opportunity over the last 3 to 4 years to buy a Wrestle Talk Podcast mug, you have officially missed the past due date, and there is no going back. So when I said to you guys, just got beer in my keyboard. When I say to you guys that these things are limited edition and then you better get them now before they're gone, everybody says it. Gabe, you've heard it. Every single person, every single advertisement is get them now before they're gone. And then 6 months later, they're back. This is not that scenario. We may bring these back down the road, but it's going to be a long time down the road. So I want to give a mega huge thanks to my brother, my amigo, Scott Rathbun, for making these wonderful Wrestle Talk Podcast mugs over the last 4 years. As you can see, mine has my name inscribed in it there. Okay. And then it also has the Wrestle Talk Podcast logo. It's beautiful. But because of circumstances out of either of our control, Scott is no longer going to be able to make the Wrestle Talk Podcast mug. So I want to really take the time to the over 100 people. That's right, Gabe, you heard it. The over 100 people that took advantage and purchased themselves a Wrestle Talk Podcast mug. So thank you guys. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Rathbun and Graven. It was an amazing partnership. We're glad to have done it with you. Big cheers and one last sip for my brother, Scott Rathbun, for putting these things together. And by the way, these were all 100% handmade, hand engraved. So they are now officially one of a kind. I'm not saying they're a collector's item, okay? But if we do make it to episode 5,000, Gabe, I'm guessing at some point these things become collectible, right? Am I wrong about that?
I'd like to see it, at least. Something that we can reminisce about. We can look back and go, man, remember episode 500? The mugs, when we sold those were good times. Because we're going to look back at it, I promise you. We're going to look back in this moment. And it started at the Wrestle Talk Podcast mugs.
That's right, man. Well, we started selling these back right before the pandemic. So say 2020, early 2020, we started selling them, maybe late 20.
3 years ago.
Yeah, bro. So it's been a little bit over 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. We put those on the market for that amount of time. Now they're officially off the market. So thank you to the 100+ people that ended up purchasing them. And I do want to encourage everybody that if you don't want the same thing to happen to you that happened with the mug, let us know. We'll get this amazing logo, and then we will customize your name. And these will also be available for a limited amount of time. Please just shoot me a DM. They're $20, $5 if you want it engraved. So that's $25 for the tumbler, and then plus whatever the shipping cost is. So if you're in St. Louis, it's probably just a couple bucks. If you're down in Tampa, probably about 10 or 12 bucks. So all in all, you're talking about $35, bro, for a tumbler that'll last you a lifetime. I mean, and this is Yeti quality, bro. This is not no bullshit. This is a good tumbler. It keeps everything just as cold as my Yeti cup. So again, thanks to Rathbun. Thanks, fans. And thank you, everybody who took the moment to purchase the mug. We want to do the exact same thing with the tumbler. So appreciate you guys. Really means a lot. Really does.
I definitely want to try and pick one of those up before it comes out. Because they look awesome. And like that logo looks perfect. Like, did you design that logo?
Nah, hell no, man. I'm not that talented, bro. I'm good at one thing and one thing only. That's talking shit. That's the only thing I do well. I don't wrestle. Shit, I don't even, well, actually, that's a lie. There's one other thing I'm really good. My kids, and I'm very biased, but they're all beautiful, intelligent people. And I mean beautiful as in physically and not physically. So I make some pretty handsome babies. Otherwise, I talk shit, and that's my complete skill set. That's the only thing I ever put on my resume. I make babies well, and I talk shit well. If that doesn't meet your criteria, I chuck the deuce at them. Oh, wait. Oh, look. Oh, a challenge up on the screen. If Gabe buys one, then I'll buy one. And listen, the hosts don't get these for free. Nobody has gotten any of these for free, bro. We all pay for them.
Pocket.
Yeah, but really, well, and here's the thing. Like, if I put money into buying the mug, the money just goes right back into the show. Like, I think a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about, like, hey, do you need us to, like, send you some money for a ring light? Because we were working on getting your setup. By the way, you look a lot better. I see you got the new headphones and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we do that, bro. We'll take some of the money.
Eventually.
Man, don't worry about all that shit, man. Just get a nice light. You look beautiful, man. It's the money maker's right here. You hear me, dog? It's right here. This is what the people came to see. As long as they can hear you, you're A-okay. But if you want to do the green screen, I'm not mad at you. Just remember, this is a family show, so I don't know what you're going to be playing. If you're going to be playing Edge and what's her face in the middle
Lita.
of the ring on the Lita. I don't know what kind of shit.
That was when I was a wrestling fan too, dude. Like,
when you believed it? When you believed it?
Of course. You kidding me? And I'm just like, isn't this a family show?
Yeah, bro. Well, this one ain't. I was just lying. All right. So we got it straight from Jared. It's in black and white. So the day that Gabe sends me the money for the tumbler, and I'll have our guy Felix start making it.
When I get that money, I'm gonna hold Jared.
Hey, no rush. Hey, dog, no rush. Take your time. Like I said, it's all progressive here. Whenever that does happen, I'm gonna screenshot it to Jared, and then Jared can shoot over his money, and we'll get him a tumbler. Either way, my man's playing with house money. He already got some swag from Wrestle Talk. I think got a lunchbox or something like that. So my man's already playing with house money. And yes, the confirmation from my man Michael, he did indeed meet Lita over the weekend. I saw the picture. I didn't even really see you in the picture. I'm gonna be honest. I was gravitated to Lita, but I think that happens to all of us. It's okay, bro. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. All right. That said, and I love the banter. We do have business to handle. We've gotten the sponsors out of the way. There's one other very, very important section of the show that we must address, my friend, and that is what we call the Wrestle Talk podcast. Oh, it always brings us. I love this feeling. We pay homage. This is the Wrestle Talk podcast homage. We do it every single week, and this is where we ask everybody to respectfully remove their caps, place their hands over their hearts, as we pay homage to the greatest country on God's green earth. You guys know it. We all know it. That is America, damn it. Boys, hit it. Ready? Here it comes. Here it comes. I almost have it timed at this point. I know exactly when to. Every
Like
single
Vicky Guerrero if she was an American Idol. It's
Oh
just not
gosh.
good.
How dare you insult the sultry vixen herself, Vicky Guerrero, comparing her to Roseanne? I mean, come on. Did you know I had that
I
readily
calls him like I
available?
sees him.
Did
I
you
know
know
you
I had
did.
that on hand? You did? Okay. I didn't
I
know
think
if
I
you
was
knew
just baiting it.
Your wish is my command, sire. All right, here we go. Hold this for me, ET. Hold that for me.
If
All right,
I don't set off enough soundboard options, Renee doesn't feed me.
well, no, I got hey, calm down, Rideback. Feed me more. Feed me more. By the way, if there are drops that you want, bro, you're a host of the show just like all of us. So all you gotta do is clip them and send them, bro. We'll add them. Like if there's anything that you're like, this would make a great drop, like just holla at me, man.
I gotta find some because I can think of some that'll be pretty like that are just funny in general, but also like for pro wrestling podcasts.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's
like specifically stuff that we would all get, or we're like, I know what that's from.
yeah, I don't think this will ever be defeated though. I think this is probably our best one. You ready?
Never drew a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime.
Never
You
drew
need
a
the
dime.
version. Who was the one who said it? It was in the WCW documentary about Jeff Jarrett, where he was like, he smashed 1,000 guitars.
Guitars never drew a dime. That's it, bro.
Never drew
That's
a
the
dime.
Mike Graham. That's it. That's the Mike Graham interview about Double J Jeff Jarrett, which, by the way, and we'll get into this here in just a second, but nothing could ever be further than the truth, bro. That Jarrett's going back to mom and bro, come on, you gotta be kidding me. Like Jeff Jarrett's a fucking legend. Like I don't care if you don't like him wrestling. I don't care if you didn't like TNA. I don't give a shit about any of that, bro. You can't tell me Jeff Jarrett is not a legend. I don't want to hear it.
Nah, because even if you don't agree with him, he gets a genuine reaction from people, and he's at that point in his career where he has enough experience to turn it into money. So like he understands I can put my foot in the door wherever because I didn't burn any of my bridges. I just went to better companies.
Oh yeah, not to mention he is a great businessman.
Of course.
And by the way, he was the best heel in AEW for a couple of weeks at least. Him and Jay Lethal and that whole little gang. And by the way, Susie, we will take you up on that honor, by the way. We will take you up on that offer. If you want to send me a clip that says your cornbread's not done all the way in the middle, we will play that. We'll add it to the drop list. Yeah, we need that one. We need Hoss. We need that's right. We need that one too. Yep. All right. So for those that were wondering, we do have a very, very special guest this evening. He's going to be joining us in approximately 45 minutes, about 8:20 or so, guys. It is Stephen E. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I personally objected to this interview. I see how this man operates. So I'm hoping we can keep it cordial for at least the first part of the interview when he comes on. Oddly enough, and this doesn't surprise me even a little bit, Arsene, when you started doing your research about Mr. Stephen E., you loved the guy. You loved all the dastardly, underhanded nonsense. You love the fact that he was with Attila Khan. I know we're going to get a chance to talk to him in the second hour, but bro, just give us a brief snippet of what your initial thoughts are on MOC Stephen E.
Well, my initial thoughts are, Renee, is that he's a competitor who's going to get his hands dirty. I mean, in wrestling, I get it, right? We all want to be best friends with everybody, but this isn't, this isn't the best friend hour, right? And I think Stephen E. and Attila Khan, he's going to be able to give him that killer edge to do what he needs to do and not have to make friends about it because you can choose what you want to do in this business, Renee. You can either make money or make friends. And I think Stephen E. is the guy
who's going to make excuses for a guy like what you're doing. Right?
Look.
All right, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it. Listen. Guys, Stephen E. will be with us in a little bit under an hour, 8:20 Central Time, 9:20 Eastern. I'm sure he'll be dressed to the nines. My man always looks like $1 million. It's just everything that comes out of his mouth that I have a problem with. And here we go. My words, even better than I could have said it, Gabe. A great businessman, but his tactics are questionable, I think, is a very nice way of saying it. And we will get into that in depth in the second hour. Just nod in approval. That's okay. That's all I need. Just nod in approval.
Making me feel called out here.
Hey, listen, bro. Anybody who hosts with me knows what it's going to do. We're going to do two things. We're going to talk a lot of trash, and I'm going to talk a lot of shit. Is that the same thing? Most likely. If there's a difference, you'll have to let me know. Point being, we're going to keep it moving. On that note, Are you ready for the high spot segment? Because we've got some incredible topics that we're going to discuss throughout the first hour. And here's how the first hour works. If you guys want to join us, you can do that in the comment section. Okay, very nice. Please. You can do that in the comment section.
We definitely like to.
Absolutely. Go ahead, finish your sentence. I'm with you.
I just wanted to say we absolutely like that interaction, folks, because it gives us something to kind of bounce off of. Because even if it's just me and Renee tonight, at least hearing people in the comment section, we can try to, but it's like Jackbox, but if we're talking about pro wrestling, it helps. The more people are watching and interacting with us.
And I only say this, I'm a total prima donna, so you're going to have to kind of cut me off to say something. And I need you to do that, okay? I need you to, jump in with your point. It's just, that's the only way it works, bro. I'm an East Coast guy. You just got to...
I'm the same way, so
you're just going to be fuck your life, and then just start saying what you need to say.
Yeah. Get out of my face.
Bing bong, let's go. All right, awesome. I'm excited for it, though, man. We're going to have some great banter. And again, if I had to pinpoint at 8:20 Central Time this evening. And by the way, anybody who's listening to the replay, second hour of the show, about 20 minutes in, is when you guys get an opportunity to hear from the man himself, Stephen E. But for the time being, we do have some business to handle because it is time for what is the favorite segment of many of the members of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, and that is the one and only Wrestle Talk podcast shoot and shot segment, where we, Gabriel Arsene and the Night Owl MX, are going to cover some of the hottest topics in professional wrestling today. And as I was trying to say before I was so unrudely interrupted, we want you to join us. Comment section. Shoot Gabe a message. Shoot me a message. We'll shoot you the link. You can join us on the screen if you got the huevos to do so, you cockroaches. But you got to have them, and you got to bring the heat if you want to join us. Right, Gabe? 7:28.
Oh, my God.
Go ahead, say it again, bud.
My connections. Oh, my God.
Oh, my connections.
Excuse me. You got to have
told you to upgrade from that dial-up, boy.
To hang with the I was saying, you got to have the cojones to hang with the Don.
The Don. That's what I'm talking about over here. Yep. That's right. And I'm a Chiefs fan too, so I'm extra arrogant right now. We're the champs, so you got to deal with that. Okay, so it is indeed time for tonight's edition of the Wrestle Talk podcast High Spot segment. The segment is always awesome, but it's that much better when you guys join us. Shoot us a message. We hit you the link. You can come on with us. Boys in the back, you know what to do. Hit the music. It is time for DJ Money.
Mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like clear chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner's speeches of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock flash, look like a barely flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
Totally random question before we get into the high spots. Do you know where this came from? The "you can't see me"? Do you know? Because everybody says it, but yeah, the hand thing, the John Cena "you can't see me." Do you know where that came from?
I don't. Actually, I really don't know. Actually, do you?
But you know the hand movement, right? Like when Cena does "you can't see me."
You can't see me.
So, and
I did that all the time as a kid.
Here's the origin story. This is one of the very, very few times that you actually learn something on the Wrestle Talk podcast. We take pride in killing brain cells here, not infusing them. So you guys may remember a very, very remotely known rapper that many of you probably have never even heard of. His name is 50 Cent. 50 Cent, when he came out with the G Unit, he had a couple of guys in the G Unit. It was Young Buck, Lloyd Banks, and Tony Yayo. And when G Unit first came out, Tony Yayo was actually in prison. And Tony Yayo, he had this thing that he would do that he would always say, "You can't see me, bro. You got," like, they'd be out on the court in jail, and hey, I'll beat you, boom, 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 you know, competitive nature in basketball. And Tony would always be like, bro, you can't see me. You can't even see me, bro. Like when somebody got in his face, he was like, you can't see me, blah, blah, blah. So that made its way onto some of the 50 Cent G-Unit music videos. And then when he got out of prison, then he started doing it in the video, and then it kind of caught on. Well, as everybody knows, John Cena's first gimmick, which was right around the time G-Unit came out, 2003, 2004, 2005. He's a hip hop guy. He used to do like, you know, John Cena do like bars or whatever.
He had the bucket hats and
the hat and the chain and the jerseys and all that shit, right? So
chain gang.
He took that straight from G-Unit and you know 50 Cent and all those guys. So for those that don't know where this originated from, as corny as it is now, it was actually something that was like from the street.
Not corny. It's over. It's over.
People hate it because you remember The Rock. You can't see me. You can't.
Yeah, but that's the point. Like it's supposed to do that. Like it gets a response. I don't know. That's just
me. Bro. It just came from a tree when the wind moves like this. That's a fair point. What's up, T? Hey man, love your podcast by the way, bro. I started checking it out here recently. Got a lot of great guests, great content, man. Like to see young fellas doing their thing. Now, would I put you up against us and our talent? Well, I mean, I'm a little biased, but bro, you got some good stuff going on, Tyler. Keep it going, keep it moving. Don't let nobody stop you. And if we can do anything to help, holla at your boys. Just remember, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling. You heard me? You ready for the first High Spots talk, Nick?
I've been ready. I've been waiting for like a minute.
We talk a lot of shit today. Okay, here's how it's going to work though, guys. We're going to hit the randomizer. It'll go off for about 5 seconds. A picture pops up. Shortly thereafter, the topic will pop up. We will discuss it back and forth. You guys can join us. And if you've got your own High Spots topic, just drop it in the comment section and we'll make sure we talk about it too. Does that sound good to everybody? Oh, yeah, I'm going to take that nod as a yes. All right, boys, you know what to do.
We all good in the hood.
All good in the hood, daddy. All right, let's go ahead and cue up that randomizer for the first High Spots topic of the evening. Ooh, all right. I like this.
I'm excited about this.
Let's see what the topic is. Coming right up, my friends. It looks like we're going to be discussing Will Ospreay here. And the question reads, rumor has it, Will Ospreay has hired famous agent Barry Bloom. Do we see or anticipate him to be WWE bound? Gabe, floor is yours.
I hope so. Just to answer as quickly as possible, because I can pop off about this for a really long time, but Will Ospreay is at that point where he's basically AJ Styles 2.0. And I know that's a bold statement, but it's because now he's at the point where he's done everything. Revolution Pro, New Japan Pro Wrestling for almost a decade now. And seeing a run in WWE would be pretty sick, especially because he's already gone to AEW and like done really cool stuff, sold out a really big pay-per-view. So I'm not trying to say where there's smoke, there's fire. So I can't say anything. He could probably swerve us all and just go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. But here goes. I want to see Will Ospreay in WWE and see the kind of response this guy gets on the level of Cody Rhodes. I think so, but that's just me.
Okay, and you know, I'm certainly going to play devil's advocate, but before I do, I'm just going to say this. Absolutely incredible talent. Hard pressed to find any other free agent as hot as one Will Ospreay right now. It's going to be hard to bring in a bigger name. I think the Jade Cargill signing, as big as it was for hardcore enthusiasts of the sport, I think a Will Ospreay signing would be even bigger because we know what he can do in the ring. I think there's still a lot of question marks around Jade Cargill. Don't ask me how I ended up on Jade Cargill. It's hard to not bring her up because of how amazing she is, but you know, I just wanted to kind of compare.
We're at a point now where exactly. We're already at a point where we know this person's name enough to remember it,
and so does Seth Rollins.
Like, okay, yeah,
does Seth Rollins. He's always tweeting at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he always Xing at him? I don't even know how you say it anymore. Is it Xing? Is he Xing him? I'm going to still say tweeting until somebody tells me otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk is already telling us otherwise, but we still
He's confusing me. He's confusing
Yeah, of
me.
course. You shouldn't have changed it to begin with. But
are you ready for devil's advocate?
Yes, please.
Okay. So here's what I believe. I think from an in-ring perspective, Gabe, I think it is a slam dunk home run to see him in a match against Seth or Finn or Sammy or KO or Drew or some of these gunners on the WWE roster. You know what I mean when I say gunner, right? Like these dudes that can fucking go. Ospreay is that guy. And I'll put another guy in that same conversation, Ricochet. Another guy, and we've seen Ospreay and Ricochet, some of the best in-ring work. Now, some of you guys may call it pirouettes. I'm sure Jim Cornette has an issue with it. To each his own. There's many, many different flavors of wrestling ice cream. This is just a different flavor. Let me tell you where my concern lies, though, Gabe. My concern is that Will Ospreay is already living his dream job. He can work when he wants. He can work where he wants. He can work when he wants. And when you go to WWE, that is no longer the case. You are no longer freely able to come and go as you please. And we talked about this when we were talking to our guest a couple of weeks ago, Chris Brady. Shout out to my man, everybody's favorite homeboy. Ospreay has been very, very clear about how much he values his home life, Gabe. And I worry about two things. Number one, the 200 plus days on the road that he's going to have to do with WWE that I know he's not currently doing because his stints in Japan are come and go. Okay, everybody knows he's from the UK, spends most of his time there, and does very, very well spending most of his time near home. There's a lot of great promotions in the UK. But the biggest concern for me, going alongside with all of that, is he's already too deep into the shoot aspect of his character that I don't know if he can reel it back enough to fit into the WWE character box. Do I need to expand upon that, or do you know what I mean by this?
I was trying to unmute. Actually, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think that's an interesting point in the defense against why he shouldn't go to somewhere like WWE, because that's part of the reason why Will Ospreay has resonated with a lot of people now. And I recommend checking out some of his matches if you haven't recently, folks. The Forbidden Door one is really good, but it sells Ospreay's almost violent tendencies to a fault because he's so good and he thrives off of being that Brit who swears up a storm on Japanese television and telling people he's going to effing kill them. But yeah, I think you definitely bring up a valid argument in the fact that I don't know if that'll work as well, because he is a good promo, but is he a good, honest promo, so to speak? Like, yeah, see, look, The Miz recently turned face on Raw. In my opinion, The Miz does a great job as a heel. What's your input on The Miz's recent face turn? I'll just answer this quickly just because I want to try to tie it back to what we're talking about. But I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know that, is it bad? Should we give the Miz a second chance at being face this time around? No, but I definitely think Miz is one of those people where he really only works as a heel. Like, you can try to make him face, but it just doesn't work as well as we want it to. As far as Ospreay, I don't know if he can clean up enough to keep that edge that everybody likes. Like, if it's too much of a departure, if he's too, square in a circle, so to speak, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure you know what I mean, Renee.
Bro, how can you go from cutting promos, saying whatever you want, whenever you want, like you said, cussing up a storm over at New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, wherever he shows up, and then all of a sudden he's supposed to do Thuckatash promos? Like, come on, bro. Like, I just feel like the same thing that kind of happened to Kevin Owens and Claudio Castagnoli, guys that are incredibly, like, beyond explanation talented in the ring. They show up to the they show up to the E, and then they only have 5 moves. I mean, I don't know if my friend, well, Sonny. Sonny, years ago, before Kevin Owens got signed to the WWE, he showed me this video. It's called 1,000 Moves of Kevin Steen. 1,000 moves. This dude can do 1,000 different wrestling moves. When you watch him, and if I sat you here, Gabe, and I challenged you, I said, give me Kevin Owens' move set. By the time you got to 6 or 7, you'd be having a hard time going past that. He's got the senton, the stunner, the power bomb. He's got the swanton off the top, the senton, whatever you want to call it. They don't let him do all the stuff that he does, nor do they let him really promo the way that he used to. And Kevin Owens has done okay for himself, but there's a reason he hasn't been able to peak, because the environment for a guy like Kevin Owens, the environment to peak for a guy like Will Ospreay is New Japan, is AEW, where they can be a little bit more off the cuff. Half their promos are shoot. And in the WWE, I'm not saying it's scripted word for word, but there are many, many parameters. There's a lot of red tape and a lot of glass ceilings there that I don't know. And I'm sure he would do okay, but I'm not sure we would see the Will Ospreay that we want to see if he showed up there. Would he have banger 5-star wrestling matches? Absolutely. But would the programs really be a justification of what his true abilities are with the handcuffs that they seem to like to put on people, bro? That's my concern about Ospreay joining the E.
So your concern isn't that he won't be able to do good stuff in the E. You just don't know that it'll be as good as Will Ospreay should be on
He's
that.
so
big of a
raw,
platform.
bro.
He
so
is
raw
though
with it.
Well, that's
and I
what
love that about him.
That's what I like about the hidden weapon as a finishing move, because it's the only striking maneuver where I'm like, that would probably legit kill you.
Jericho,
so
Jericho has that, and then Andrade has that.
His is so perfect though, because he snipes you with it. Like, he already waits for you to be crumpled up in the middle of the ring like a freaking piece of bread, but then he just snipes you in the back of the head, like hitting you right in the ear. Like, I could rave about this.
Kinshasa?
Yeah, but it's like that with an elbow. Like, it's just that's what I like about it.
We're talking about moves that could kill somebody, right? V-trigger?
V-trigger is a little too in quotation marks for me.
Tombstone?
Tombstone, that's different, especially because
I'll just play.
Tombstone is so brutal that we know it's safe. That's the thing. It's like there's no way nobody would actually drop you on your head. So it's too
destroy their knees in the process.
Exactly.
Right. You want to read? Let me read this comment off here. It says he's already worked AEW. He's done big matches there. Who else can he face in AEW? I'm not saying he should go there. I'm saying that's where he'll be able to work and be himself. That's all I'm saying. There's only like 3 guys that could give him an interesting match. Omega, I'm sure, would be one of them. I know you didn't say that, but that's what I think. WWE have a ton of matches that he can do that's interesting. He can get Brock, Roman. Listen, Jared, you got to stay with me, bro. You're a sharp guy. I'm not saying he can't have interesting matches with him. What I'm saying is, are we going to get the best version of Will Ospreay and everything that he has to offer? And I think that they're going to constrain him.
Is it gonna feel like Will Ospreay as we know him now? You know what this is like, Renee? This is like a while back when New Japan fans were telling AEW fans, "Nah, New Japan Kenny is on some different shit," because that's the effect. It's true, he does though, and that's
he's boring in AEW.
He has good spots in AEW, but he doesn't have the same edge to him. He doesn't have the same agency.
Not even Okada matters. Not even Okada being around moves the needle for AEW, bro. We all thought, hey, when Okada comes over, bro, it's a wrap. AEW is going to be over here. Nobody gives a shit. They got him in tag matches on Collision on a Saturday. Who gives a shit?
I mean, you're not wrong, and this is a huge other discussion. I think we have something for it as far as the high spots
if
go.
we hit it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's sort of where Night Owl was at, Jared, is that it's not that there's no potential in Will Ospreay in WWE.
I love Will Ospreay.
Are we going to get 5-star like screwdriver and blood all over the announce table Will Ospreay, or are we going to get Will Ospreay with the WWE copyright like right next to it? Like, they need to make sure that this is how we present him to little Johnny 5-year-old buying Mattel action figure.
And you're gonna hate me for saying this. We're gonna hate me for saying this. We already got Will Ospreay, a better version. His name is Logan Paul. Sorry. He just doesn't have the accent.
I think it's more like Logan Paul is as close to Will Ospreay as we're going to get in WWE. And the thing is, I can't help but agree with you. It's like Especially because he just won the U.S. championship, and I'm like, oh boy.
And that boy can go, oh my gosh, Logan Paul is the better version. You know it's going to be a cold day in hell when Jared agrees with me on something. Well, here we have it.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered.
Yo, 2 seconds ago, my man was ready to give freaking Will Ospreay the World Heavyweight Championship. Now all of a sudden, Logan Paul's better. You're hilarious, Jared. You want to read this one off for us there, Gabe?
I would love your guys' input on Logan Paul being the United States champion. I'm sorry, but I don't like it at all. I'm sorry, he's a great wrestler and all, but I don't like him as champion. Do you want to start off on this, or should I take the reins here?
I'll go ahead and kick this one off because I think I was just talking about this. Michael, if you're not sitting down, you may want to sit down for this. Logan Paul becoming the United States champion is what's best for business. Why? The United States Championship was doing nothing for Rey Mysterio. You could literally give this man every world championship at the same time, and it doesn't elevate Rey Mysterio anymore. I mean, like, how can you be inducted into the Hall of Fame before you even retire? Like, how many people got that sort of love? Like, there wasn't many that got honored. Most of the guys, as a matter of fact, get honored after they die. So to be so great, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, he'll probably end up being inducted twice at some point, like Ric Flair. Rey doesn't need the United States Championship. Number one. Number two, the United States Championship needs the notoriety that Logan Paul is going to bring it. In many other scenarios, it's the belt that makes the man. In this situation, Logan Paul is actually doing the WWE, and that beautiful, I don't care what anybody says, I love the United States Championship. I think it looks fantastic. He is bringing that championship notoriety that it otherwise wouldn't have. And number three, the kid can go. The kid respects the game. You can see it in how he looks, how he talks, but more importantly, how he W-R-E-S-T-L-I-N-G, how he wrestling. Well, actually wrestles. Anyway, you get my point. He can do everything in the ring that seasoned veterans can do. The difference between him and a seasoned vet is that he's got about 60 million social media followers that watch every single thing this guy does from the moment he brushes his teeth to the end of the night when he puts on his Fred Flintstone slippers. Everybody knows what this kid does. And when they do see him every morning and at night when he tucks them into bed, Gabe, he's going to be wearing the United States Championship. So as far as I'm concerned, he's had more than half a dozen matches successfully in big shows. He continues to show up consistently. It's not a once-a-year thing. He's showing up almost quarterly now. Looks the part, sounds the part, and the kid can go. What else do I need to say, Gabe? Am I tripping here? Am I out of line for this?
You know, Night Owl, I'm glad you're asking me because I want to reassure you you're not crazy, because I agree with pretty much every point you said about Logan Paul as far as this is going. Because as much as everybody wants to make and grasp at the straw that is, this is like David Arquette winning the WCW championship. No. Here, first of all, let me address this. First of all, when that happened, the WCW championship didn't mean shit in 1999. All right, somebody give me Justin's rant counter. I'm taking over this shit tonight because I got a lot to say about this.
We can make you your own.
Please let me, because I got a lot to talk about this when it comes to Logan Paul. All right. Secondly, I agree 100%. When was the last time you gave a shit about the United States Championship the past year and a half? And no disrespect to Ray. I'm glad he got it. But the thing is that realistically, guys, he didn't need this more than anything because he's already won the U.S. champ. Did anybody remember that this is like his second time holding the belt? Yeah, third time holding the U.S. championship. First time, okay. Second time, pat it out, right? Two-time U.S. champ, and get that Grand Slam thing that they happen to be doing with a bunch of SmackDown guys at the time, Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. It's like, okay, I guess we'll give these legends their U.S. check mark, right? But then freaking last attempt at trying to make a heel for the U.S. title to give a damn about was Austin Theory, and it's like, this dude didn't get a single reaction. How do you stick him in the it has to be applauded, Night Owl. It has to be applauded.
I agree.
How do you stick this dude with so many legends in wrestling, and then he doesn't get any pop, anything, not even boos, bro? They're just like, okay, he's still in the ring.
Bro, hey, between you and me, and I don't want to stop your point because you're killing. Don't want to cut you short on any level.
You're good.
But Austin Theory wishes he was getting booed like Dom Dom.
Thank
He
you.
wishes.
Thank you.
He
Thank
wishes, bro. Watch it, KB.
You can, fam, you can care about Theory all you want, dude.
Doesn't mean he's moving the needle.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena. If these dudes aren't getting a reaction from you,
and Vince, by the way. Yeah,
and
Vince.
if Vince McMahon can't get anything out of a response from you, and you got your stupid Beyblade going on in the background during your, I don't care that happened. That was the stupidest thing. You are fodder. You are fodder, my friend. You were like Raditz in Dragon Ball Z level. That's it. You peaked.
Okay, so I got a question.
Yes.
Who higher ceiling in WWE? Austin Theory or my man who used to be there, who now works for AEW, the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger? Because I see a lot of like, this guy looks the part. I think Theory's a little bit better on the mic than Ty Dillinger ever was.
I think
But
Theory
I
still
see a lot of semblance there.
Theory. I mean, I can understand the comparison, but where Dom Dom is great is going to get his butt kicked at Survivor Series War Games. You wish, Assad. You wish.
No, the
He's
heels
gonna
are going
keep
to win
that
that
belt,
one.
baby. They're gonna
They're
keep
win.
it all. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
heel, baby.
Yeah.
No, but as far as Ty goes, the thing is that I feel like they have a 2-tier system right now as far as
Okay.
what's capable there, because they have Ring of Honor, but it feels so disjointed. So you're talking like, is he going to be a Ring of Honor World Champion, or is he going to be like an AEW TNT champion, or
Okay,
maybe...
Pop quiz. Before last Wednesday, who held the Ring of Honor Trios Championships?
Before last Wednesday?
Yes.
Wasn't it the Hung Bucks?
Okay.
It was Adam Page and the Young Bucks, right?
And this is a two-parter. You saw how I prefaced it. Who
Yes.
now holds them?
Isn't it Gates of Agony or the Embassy? I can't remember. It's like, right?
Well done, sir. I was betting, and this isn't me questioning you in particular. If I asked 10 wrestling fans on the street coming out of a show, okay, I'm guessing a lot of them wouldn't know the answer. And so you got to be really deep in the game to really know the answer to that, because, and you kind of, I only piggybacked off of you because you said, if they're going to put them in there, which one of the 18 AEW championships are they going to put them to go after? You know, like the chairman or whoever it may be. Like, it just doesn't coagulate. But back to Theory and back to Logan Paul, because we want to make sure we put a cap on that. So final thoughts.
I mean, just to answer your question, I think Theory has the better ceiling,
Right.
but I don't know what they got to do. It's like they turned him heel, and normally that works. So if that doesn't work, I'm like, okay, where do we go from here?
Now they got him with Waller doing tag stuff.
I was gonna say, do we stick him in a tag team and just hope that we get somewhere fast? Like,
yeah. And a few weeks ago, if you guys check my X account, that's at Night Owl MX, we went from a Bloodline segment to Grayson Waller. And I was quite disappointed.
That's quite the contrast.
By the way, I wanted to make sure we finished answering this question in case you had anything else you wanted to add before we move on to the next topic. Any closing thoughts on this particular question from our friend Michael up in Minnesota?
Anybody wants to try and step up here and look at me and tell me that Logan Paul isn't doing the biggest favor for the United States Championship since Seth Rollins or John Cena, excuse me, they can bite me. They can fight me on the side of the street, Night Owl. I do not care, because I will die on this stupid hill. It's the United States Championship. When is the last time you have ever given a shit about this belt up until now? Well, I'll tell you when, never. That is
when Kevin Owens stepped on it. When Kevin Owens stepped on it, that was the last time I gave a shit. Now, when Priest had it, it was pretty cool. I like Lashley with it a little bit, but not like this. From now,
it was fine.
It's a big deal now.
Well, it's just like you got it. Anything more than that elimination chamber with Seth Rollins to me is like, that's the level that it needs to be at. Be pay-per-view main event. That's what it should be.
Yeah, but
and
Seth
I don't
is
think
Seth for a reason.
Grayson Waller's graphics are stolen from SpongeBob.
It says, I don't know the purpose of Ring of Honor titles to defend on Dynamite. Yeah, it's to give them something to talk about on Collision. But
they have Ring of Honor. So what's the point of, like, if they absorbed Ring of Honor into AEW, that would have been one.
Where do you watch Ring of Honor?
what is it, on Honor Club? So it's like I don't understand how.
Come
I
on,
mean,
man,
yeah,
stop
look,
it.
I
Stop
get
it.
that, but I'm like, look, if you're gonna stick to your stupid wrestling shopping guns, you might as well keep it to one show. If the thing is, Renee, if they don't keep it to one show, what's the point of watching Ring of Honor if they're giving away free Ring of Honor title matches on
All
regular
the time.
TV?
All
That's
the
what I'm
time.
saying.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're gonna make us pay this stupid subscription wall, keep it behind a subscription wall and make it the best damn wrestling you've ever seen in your life. That's it. Because then people are like, all right, I'll pay $5 for this. Like,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I was paying for New Japan there for a little while. I wish I still was, man. That's one of them that's worth paying for. All right, next high spots topic. Are you ready, bro? Because
yes, please, let's hit it.
I think we're still on our first one. We just wrapped the first hour. This might be a 6-hour podcast. God damn it! All right, never mind.
It's a 2-hour show. We got time to fill.
Well, it usually goes about 2:20. I'm gonna be honest. Hopefully, nobody gets in trouble for that. But usually, okay. Are you guys ready for the next topic? Thumbs up.
I think so.
Yeah, I need verbal affirmation because I'm working on shit over here. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead and queue up the next question on tonight's edition, 457. In case you guys forgot, of the Wrestle Talk podcast high spot segment. Let's do it. Oh shit! Here we go.
This I have.
I did not expect the TNA topic here.
I can start this one off.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and drop the question here.
I'm so glad we did.
Let me read this off the screen for you. It says, with a return to form for TNA, who would you like to see joining the roster before the end of the year? Gabe, why don't you go ahead and take this one first, buddy?
I don't know that I have anybody in particular that I want to see. I just know that we have a lot of options as far as wrestling, because I know a lot of people might be thinking, well, it's TNA in 2023. Who's left? For starters, CM Punk, just to go off of that. Like, and look, we don't know what's in the future for CM Punk as far as wrestling is concerned, but as far as Impact trying to rebrand and push itself, Punk could make some movement. I mean, people are still buying it. People are still talking about it. The man gets a response. And look, you could do a lot worse than Impact. So let's be real here, folks. We had mentioned him earlier, Will Ospreay. I think Will Ospreay could definitely have some opportunity being a flag bearer for this new era of TNA, bringing it back to its original roots. Aleister Black, I think he's still with AEW currently, but I might be wrong. James Storm come back, to be honest. Has James Storm been gone? I figured he was still wrestling there.
James Storm has been seen recently at independent shows. I believe he was at Mid-States not too long ago. So he is currently still active in the business. Don't know if he's currently associated with any company. Go ahead, continue.
Well, I mean, with the return to form, that'd definitely be a really good shot for it. Jared Shannon, good idea. Elias, 100% definitely would get there. I think there's a lot of people that can benefit from the Impact scheduling. Especially because, another one, Mustafa Ali, because he finally got his friggin' release from WWE that I know he's been asking for. CM Punk ain't going to Impact or TNA. I think he could. I mean, Renee, why do you think he thinks CM Punk won't go there? I mean, I know I know the price tag is too big, but if the door with WWE is closed, does he have any other options?
Why can't I get away from this guy? I mean, listen, everything was going fine, and I was really enjoying co-hosting with you. You look dapper in those glasses there, Clark Kent. I love it. You do. You look great. The moment you brought up Phil, immediately my mind goes to fucking bullshit. Bro, can we move on? Why do we always have to bring up Phil? I mean, I don't want to go on a whole rant here, but I think I'm going to be able to answer this question for you, and we'll talk about this in just a second because I think this is a great comment. And if you guys have been following Dolph Ziggler on social media, let's just say he very much had his hands full this weekend at the Browns game.
Oh my God!
Did you see the picture, dog?
Look, yeah, I saw it. I know. I don't know that we can show it on screen, but
I mean, I don't have it pulled up. Otherwise, we could do that. We could do that here. But let me address this.
We got sponsors, sir.
Let me address
drama. Oh, go ahead.
CM Punk's ego wouldn't fit in Jerry World. Okay? It wouldn't fit in Wembley. It wouldn't fit in Stadio Azteca in Mexico City. That locker room, for as much talent as there is, the Hammerstones, the Diana Purrazzos, the Tessa Blanchards, bro, it's too much. If the likes of Khan and the Bucks and people that are uber respected in the business couldn't get through to this guy enough to not get his ass fired, not once but twice, because I believe personally that he was fired on 2 separate occasions for AEW, once after the press conference, the second time after this. They called it a leave of absence. I work as a DM, mid to high level management at my job, and when someone goes on leave of absence, they're just building the case against your ass. They're trying to fire you. So whether or not they succeeded initially, they sure as hell wanted to. Then you came back, couldn't live with the fact that you didn't have the championship anymore, even though everybody gave it up, including Thunder Rosa. The fact that you had to pretend like you were still... Bro, it just never made any sense to me. You take that level of toxicity and you pour it all over TNA, bro. It's basically like hiring Kevin Nash to do your booking. It's like fucking hiring... what's his name? Not LaRusso. Who am I thinking of? From
Vince Russo.
Vince Russo, that puss ass. Yeah, it's like hiring him to start booking your shows. And they may be uber creative and have a bunch of amazing ideas, but the toxicity, Gabe, it's too much. The locker room couldn't handle it. That's why I don't think CM Punk would go there above and beyond the salary, which I agree with you. I think he's probably going to be asking for $1.5 million a year or so for his services to wrestle maybe 15 to 20 times a year, maybe 30 on a very, very busy year. I just don't see how it's worth it on any level. And even if it was, bro, like, he's going to destroy your company. He does it with everybody else. He really has.
Well, since we got your response on CM Punk, did you want to go down a couple of the names that I had listed here and just, get your thoughts on whether you could see them there or,
Absolutely, bro. I didn't want to go on this tangent, but you had to bring up Phil.
Well, as far as Will Ospreay, tying it back to Vince Russo. Oh my God, tying it back to Will Ospreay though, he had that match with Mike Bailey recently, and I think that's why a lot of people secretly drinks Pepsi with Phil backstage. It's all a work. Everything you know is a lie. He's best friends.
My dude, do I look like a Pepsi fucking guy? Are you joking me right? I'm more offended about the Pepsi, bro. I'm Mexican Coca-Cola and cerveza. That's it. We don't do nothing else. It's Diet Mountain Dew. No, none of that shit. We don't do no Red Bull. We don't do none of that. Coffee, beers, and cerveza. And beer cerveza is the same thing for those of you that are wondering. Go ahead, continue.
Well, I mean, what do you think about Will Ospreay going to Impact Wrestling? Like, let's say if he's not a fit for WWE, is he a fit for Impact potentially? Especially now that they've really gone and back on the the good old TNA NWA start off days.
Okay, so this is kind of a different question. So I think he would fit well because I know they're programming well enough these days with Hammerstone and Fatu and Tessa and some of the people that I've already mentioned. And by the way, I love Fatu. Even though he just about killed a guy this past weekend. I don't know if you saw this. He did the gimmick where he pressed the dude over his head, threw him out of the ring. Not sure what he was aiming for, but he hits the wall about 7 feet up the wall, slides down, lands flat on his face. That shit was cold. When people talk about Haku,
that's Fatu. That's Fatu, though, bro. Yeah.
yeah, Fatu.
Hey, Jay, I'm just gonna hit you with this, Night Owl.
He'd have some badass matches there, though. He would. I think Ospreay would have badass matches there.
Make a difference, Fatu.
Yo, that boy is bad, boy. But let me finish answering it and not be too wordy. I think he would do great there from a wrestling perspective, and I think he could probably get away with the promo stuff there because he is such a big free agent, and they would give him that sort of leeway as much as they could. The problem is that I think it would be a disservice to the fans because they're just not there yet, bro. They're not. The visibility for them is even more difficult than some of the other wrestling companies. Like, I guess you could just say, well, just go watch your shit on YouTube. Well, all their programming isn't on YouTube. Yeah. So, what are they on? Do you know what TNA is on currently? Reels. They're on Reels.
Is that what it is?
I think so. I think they're on Reels. So if that's the channel, bro, do you have Reels or do you even know if you have Reels? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think it would be a great fit if they were a more established brand in the market that was easier to find, which is the same complaint people have in the Midwest about baseball. We all want to support the Royals. Very hard to find them on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to find them on TV. So
Mm-hmm.
for that reason, I think Will would not fit, because I think it would be a disservice to his career and the fans because of the low visibility of the product. Now, if they'd acquired a deal with Fox or CBS or whatever, and we could see them every, you name the date, Thursday, then hell yeah, let's go see Ospreay. Let him be the flagship guy. Him, Fatu, Hammerstone, the main guys over there. They got some talent. They do.
They have a lot. I mean, he
Alvin
already had that.
Tankman, bro. Fucking dude, they got some horses over there.
Well, I mean, have you seen anything with Josh Alexander recently?
Come on, bro. I saw when
Oh
he
my God,
beat
the
Christian for the
North?
title. So when he beat,
So
when
good.
he beat Christian for the title. I was watching that the other day, man. So anyway, I love TNA now, and I'm going back and learning about the past of TNA as well concurrently. But for that reason, I don't think Will Ospreay makes sense. Who else you got?
Well, we got Mustafa Ali. I mean, I'm not saying he could be like see, look, Susie Haas is agreeing with me on that.
Love
Mustafa Ali, I definitely think he could. I don't know that. It's weird to say, because it's like he could very much be the next EC3 or Rich Swann, and we wouldn't even know it.
Love Rich
Because it's
Swann,
weird.
by the way.
Well, because it's weird to think that those guys were WWE bound, and we thought, okay, they peaked. They're not getting any higher than the mid card, right?
Shout out to
And
Baltimore and Philly since you bring him up.
exactly. And then
Rich Swann.
I love Rich Swann, but it's
Yeah.
like, and then those guys went back to Impact and they became world champion. And so I'm thinking, well, Mustafa Ali's got the talent. He's been wanting an opportunity. I'd love to see him back in TNA. Sonny Money. You'd like to see him anywhere. You just want to see CM Punk on TV, brother.
He just wants to see me mad. That's
Yes.
what it is.
That's just it. He'd watch
wants to see me pissed
CM
off.
Punk just drink a can of Pepsi for 2.5 hours if he really could, just to spite you.
Just to spite me, indeed. Oh, and by the way, and we're going to be very open and honest about this. So, like, we're kind of going on a journey, starting to host together again. Like, always finish your thought before addressing the questions guest or the guest question. So just make a note of that. And I share this with everybody who aspires to podcast. Here's why: because there are people invested in what you were saying already. I just lay it out. I can lay it out so you can jump to it as soon as you're done. Just because I know other people podcast, and I always like to, you and I were talking. I love to share, and I think it's important. Like, I value what you say, but we also want to acknowledge the guest. Wrestle Talk, baby. Ultimately, that's what we do this for. So there's a balance, but beautifully done. And as far as I'm concerned, I want to hear the rest of your list, because so far you've only given me 2. I want to hear who else you got.
Well, I had Mustafa Ali, and then I had Shelton Benjamin.
Big Shell, like locker room leader type.
Well, just Shelton. Well, because I wrote it down here that they could be using a couple of veteran type people to work it out, because they still have Frankie Kazarian and Eric Young and Alex Shelley, and it's like Benjamin's still got gas in the tank. This dude is the dude's a wrestling monster, and especially on something like Impact, I'm like, name brand like Shelton Benjamin, former United States champion, former tag team champion. You could stick him with some people if you really want to, or give him like world's greatest tag team 2.0, and just, I mean, you could stick him with like anybody. I think he's at that point in his career where he's worked with just about everything. So people only stand to gain from him. Not from like a viewership perspective. I don't think people are going to be jumping ship because Shelton Benjamin joins their TV show. But I definitely think that he would work from a locker room perspective. I think there's a lot of wrestlers out there, specifically in TNA, that I think could work just from working a program with that guy. I mean, nobody does a T-bone suplex like Shelton Benjamin. I also have Emma. I don't know if you remember Emma.
You know what? When she came back for that little snippet, bro, I wasn't impressed with her work. I really was, and I think like the gimmick's still there, but I don't know if the passion's there anymore. I'll give you a couple of names. So I think they're underusing Mark Henry in AEW, because all he really does is say, "And now it's time for the main event." So I could see Mark Henry doing a little bit more than what he's doing there. And you know who else comes to mind? Apollo Crews. They haven't done anything with him. They changed him. They kind of gave him the Ghana gimmick for a second. Then they took it away again, and then he was down in NXT. And then what the hell happened to Apollo Crews?
He just just gone.
Poof.
I think, honestly, that's a good one to name. Well, I mean, he's in the ballpark of a lot of WWE talent that I have here, because I also have Dolph Ziggler and Matt Riddle. And I think Riddle could definitely benefit from Impact.
Yes and yes. Yes and yes. Now, those, out of everybody that we've named, besides Will Ospreay, those are the two that excite me the most. Pause.
Well, I figured you were going to add on to that because, I mean, as far as Ziggler goes, do you want to still say Aleister Black? I mean, if
he's hurt, Susie, he's got a long-term deal, and he's hurt. And he's hurt, but he's got a long-term deal with AEW. I haven't seen him on TV for 4 months, so I think he's hurt.
But as far as
that's not a report, that's a rumor. Just
that's it. I mean, that's just this is what we've heard through the grapevine.
It's what I feel because I haven't seen him, and I think that's the only reason he wouldn't be there.
Throwing it into the category for people that might be a little too expensive for Impact, but could we see add there in the future, Mercedes Moné? Or do you think she's still too much?
I'm tired of her. Oh, I don't want to see her. I mean, she's a gorgeous young lady. Out of the 4 horsewomen, I think in ring wise, she's the least talented.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm not a big fan of Bayley in the ring either. So with her and Bayley, to me, it's a toss up. But clearly, it's Charlotte, Becky, then the other two. I mean, it's just always been that way for me. You don't have to like Charlotte to admit that she's the best wrestler out of all of them because she is. I don't want to hear any arguments. She's a better wrestler than Rhea Ripley too. Sorry, y'all.
I will give you that argument only because I want to make it in the future. But I will say she's at least top 2.
Mercedes Moné's top 2.
No, I'm saying that Charlotte's top 2. Mercedes Moné, I don't know who the top of them is, but I hate Charlotte enough to
Do you have like a Becky bias? Because I've met people with Becky bias before.
No, I think I have more of a Mercedes bias, if anything.
Okay, all right. Would you put her in the top 2 of the 4 horsewomen?
I would strain to say that I would just because of what she's doing outside the WWE right now. But that's me being a goober hipster about it. Becky is trash. What a bold statement, Sonny Money.
Hey, look, it doesn't get any better afterwards. Look at that. I heavily dislike Mercedes. She's not that good in the ring. She's a bad attitude problem. Yeah, she gives me CM Punk vibes. I'm gonna be honest.
That is an opinion you are having.
Israel Rio, what's up? Welcome, bro. Appreciate you. You and your family. That's really the beautiful thing about this, right? Like we say, Wrestle Talk fam for a reason. I got kids in the other room. You know what I'm saying? We just love wrestling up here. That's what we do. Bring back Sasha Banks. I mean, hey, listen. The only reason I object to it is because I don't want to hear Michael Cole and his
boss time.
Oh my gosh! Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's not great.
Maybe that's the drop we need. Great. It's boss time.
You know what it is? We need at least one drop. One drop that's like a big red buzzer for one member of the podcast. It has to be a sound they don't like. It's like, excuse me, the Right to Censor theme song, like the what's his name? What is it? Isaac Yankum's theme song, which is the teeth drill, and then it's boss time. And then that clip we need that drop of Dusty going, he's got a bicycle.
I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that clip. I don't want to lie.
Have you never seen that clip? Oh my god. Okay,
you want to dig it up for the next time?
Yes,
we got to dig it up. We'll do it for next time. Okay, we'll inference this. All right, Mark, you got your pen with you, right? Mark down hour and 15 minutes into the show, and we'll go back and reference this when we're doing our homework. Yeah, there's a couple good ones here. There's a couple of few. Okay, so 8:15. We may or may not hear from Big Daddy P. I do want to take a moment once again, and Gabe, I'll let you take the lead on this. We are going to be addressing very quickly here our wonderful sponsors. So if you could, go ahead and hit us.
All right. Well, Wrestle Talk Podcast would like to thank its great sponsors, including Royal Mills Transportation, that's head by Mr. CEO Dwan Mills. Rathbun Engraving, that's where you can get your Wrestle Talk Podcast mug for just $20. Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri. Kincaid Arcade at Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media. Little Popeyes Design, that's where you can get our Wrestle Talk Podcast tumblers. And the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group.
Keeps coming here, going and going there. Apparently, I'm missing out on greatness. I've never heard the Dusty clip. I've still got to do some more research, obviously.
You at least need to hear. I don't know if we can get this to drop because it's too long, but you definitely, please tell me you've seen Steiner Math. Seen Scott Steiner try to
yeah,
do
we actually had Scott Steiner as the banner of the Wrestle Talk podcast Facebook page, and it was Scott Steiner with a bunch of math equations all around him. So yeah, I have heard the Scott Steiner.
Okay.
Yeah, my favorite though is Mike Graham, and I'll give Sonny credit for all these. Mike Graham, and then the Iron Sheik Fact song. Dun, 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 dun. Have you ever heard that? Fact. No. Yes. Maybe.
I don't think I have.
Oh my gosh, Sonny, please send Gabe the Iron Sheik Hulk Hogan song with the cartoon playing right now, please, so he can see it immediately after the show, even before he goes and kisses his wife. This is high priority. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just saying that I might have heard it. The thing is, if you play it for me, I might remember it, but I can't say it off the top of my head.
I don't think you could forget it if you heard it. That's all I'm saying. If you heard it, you would definitely remember it.
I would know.
You know how you tell people, you're like, bro, I got so much useless knowledge in my head. It's like, I don't think I'm ever. This is it. This is the antithesis of what it is. It's that Iron Sheik. Sonny will send it to you, bro. I'm sure he got my bag. Scott Steiner yelling at my coworker. Yeah, Sonny's at his job scaring everybody, screaming at everyone like Scott Steiner, scaring the shit out of people.
Take his bags. Go off.
You like Braun Breaker, bro? A lot of people are torn on him.
I love Braun Breaker. I think he's dope. I think he's just the Steiners in now. Like, just the fact that he's got the name recognition in wrestling does so much for him.
All right, so let me ask you a more in-depth question, okay? Because I think I gave you a softball, and you know the Night Owl likes to give it hard. Pause.
Okay.
So his promos, do you think he can ever evolve that to play at a top level? Because physically, he's got the lineage. We know that part, and he can pretty much go in the ring too. Do you think he can never get up to par promo wise? Because he's a little, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not very polished on the mic just yet.
I think he only has anywhere to go but up. I think it's just the programs that he's going to be fed going from now. Like, I know that's a very journalist answer, but it's only because I have faith in Braun Breaker, if anything, that I think it's more fine tuning it than, you know, what's not clicking and what is clicking. I think it's just him like having an idea and finding his voice, and then once he finally clicks, maybe winning a title shot, we'll have to see. Maybe just running a program with somebody, we'll have to see. But I definitely see something good to come out of it, and only something better from where he's at right now. So he only has anywhere to go but up.
You think the build with him is taking longer than what most people expected? I think everybody thought it was going to be, you know, once he lost the belt in NXT, that it was going to be bum, and then it never went down like that.
I don't know. I think it's taking about as long as I thought it would. I just think that especially because now we're in a weird transition period where there's a lot of time for WWE to fill, and that they have a lot of stars where I'm like, yo, just let them wrestle. I think that's all you really need to do with a lot of these dudes, where we know they're good in the ring. If you have to, he needs a mouthpiece. I don't know that he actually, now that I think about it, Braun Breaker getting Paul Heyman as his mouthpiece in the future definitely sounds like something I would buy. Because he definitely has that build to him. I mean, what do you think?
So then you are admitting that you question whether or not he's ready to handle it from a microphone perspective.
I think
that was kind of my question. Are you reluctant to say to him, here, take like you know, they gave, you know, and again, pause. They gave it to LA Knight, and they're like, all right, kid, go, and he did. So
I think I am
not
reluctant,
perfectly, but he did it. So
I think it's just that I am reluctant about it, just because if you're going to give me the two options, then yes, I won't be nice about it, and just let somebody else speak for the guy, because he's got enough money on his own.
See, I disagree. Throw him in the deep water, bro. Let him fight through that bullshit so that he comes out of it on the other end and he's a monster. Like Roman. Roman Sucker and Thuckatash. I referenced that earlier, bro. It's trash. No one liked it. It was painful. You knew the kid had $1 million written all over him, but then what happened, right? You finally decide, okay, we're going to let this kid out of the box. And then what happened?
But the thing is that Roman was naturally like good at talking, though. Braun doesn't have that as much. So just throwing him in the deep water means putting him against like Cena, and then
No. I don't mean that. I mean, no matter where you start him at facing, some whoever, Shelton Benjamin, or I know he's not there anymore, but you know what I'm saying. If you start him off like that slowly, let's just say, then let him work through those promo challenges then without the manager is what I'm saying. I don't mean throw him into the deep water, put him in a title match against Roman. I mean, whoever he works with, let him work through those challenges now on the mic so that when he does ascend to that level, if he ever gets there, let's hope the kid stays healthy and gets a lot of great guidance, he'll be ready for it. That's what I'm saying as far as the deep end.
I mean, I can understand that, but then I guess I have to ask, don't rely. You marked out for babyface Roman. There were a lot of people. Did you actually mark out for babyface Roman?
Did I inference that I didn't like Roman before he became heel? Listen, I've always liked Roman because I, like many people, knew that once they cut him loose, he was going to be fantastic. But he had to go through that, the being terrible, and then he got sick, and then after he got sick, that's when everything changed. So I appreciate the journey just as much as the final result. So yeah, I did like Roman even when he was a baby face, even though at that point I didn't feel like they were treating him properly, and that's why you were getting the misreaction from the crowd. So Sonny, I should have just done that and not explain myself. But go ahead, Gabe.
Well, I was going to ask, did you want to roll on to the next question, or were we?
Well, you know what? There's one other thing that I can get just as excited about as moving on to the next question, and that is, believe it or not, moving on to our featured guest of the evening. Gabe, as you sit over there munching honey buns and drinking Capri Suns, we've got a badass guest tonight. And I'll tell you what, I got the opportunity to travel to the Cauliflower Alley Club about a year and a half ago to Las Vegas. It was an amazing trip. Drew Abbenhouse, my man Luke Skywalker, Herb Simmons, the whole SICW crew helped facilitate this trip. And one of the guys that I got an opportunity to engage with when I was out there was Stephen E. Now, our guest tonight, let's just say he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way out in the professional wrestling world. But after seeing him at CAC, I gained a certain respect for him because though I don't agree with his tactics, Gabe, like Herb Simmons mentioned earlier, I can respect the hustle. Being a guy from the Southeast, understanding what it's like to start kind of with nothing and to try to figure out how to work your way up. And sometimes you have to do things that you're not necessarily proud of. And not everybody's got the cojones, the huevos that we talked about earlier to do that. So as I say all this, we're just a couple of moments away from bringing our special guest on. And I want to say this to you. Tonight's episode has already been fantastic. But when we get an opportunity to talk to talent like this, I don't know if you guys have heard the intro. We really do believe, Gabe, that we bring in the best hosts and the best guests, not based on knowledge, but based on passion in the professional wrestling world today. That's when I compare us to everybody else. I say this, hey, you know what? We're not better or worse than anybody else, but when it comes to passion and love for what we do, I don't think anybody's topping Wrestle Talk Podcast. So as I say that, thank you to everybody who's tuned in thus far. We're going to have a wonderful interview. I'm going to remain as cordial as possible because I know we're going to disagree about a lot of things with Stephen E. But we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. Right here, baby. Episode 457. Gabe, are you ready for tonight's featured guest of the evening?
I can't contain myself, Night Owl. I'm just ready to get started.
Let's go ahead and do it, baby. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in to tonight's episode of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. I'm in Kansas City. He's down in Western Florida, and we've had people from everywhere here tonight, man. I think we've had Massachusetts, we had Maryland in the house, Virginia, West Virginia in the house. Of course, Missouri, Kansas have been here. We've had some Oregon, some California, even some Texas representation here in the evening. So thank all of you guys for absolutely being here and supporting the Wrestle Talk Podcast. And again, Tyler, man, thank you for the love. With all that said, it is that time, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome in our featured guest for episode 457 of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. He's a man who minds his P's and Q's and always put his clients first. Ladies and gentlemen, a representative of Devastation Incorporated, the one and only MOC, Stephen E.
Oh my God. What an opportunity it is for you, Wrestle Talk Podcast, to have me, Stephen E, on your show. You better get ready for the ratings to spike because I'm here to answer some questions, and it's not going to be an easy one because I'm probably going to have to carry this show like I do a lot of bums all across the world of professional wrestling. You know, listen, Renee, I've been on the podcast for the last 30, 45 minutes, and I've heard what you had to say. And let me just say this, I'm not happy. I'm not happy to sit here and listen to you. It disgusts me. It's absolutely disgusting to me that you're going to sit there and run your mouth while I'm on this podcast waiting to come on. Did you think I wasn't going to sit here and say anything? Well, I'm here, and I am going to say something. With that said, Gabe, it's a hell of an honor to finally meet you, my friend.
Well, I have to say, sir, you cut quite the entrance. And I have to say, on behalf of the Wrestle Talk podcast, I'm very sorry that my constituent here had to keep you on wait for so long. Because, you know, if it was up to me,
it's
I
disgusting.
just, you know, I would have had you on from the moment we start. I would have had you read the intro and done the podcast sponsors if I was able. But, you know,
it's an absolute shame. It's an absolute shame that I've been sitting in the backstage area for the last 45 minutes waiting for my time to come up, waiting for my time to tell you guys my view on the world of professional wrestling. I've heard everything that you guys have to say. And another thing that upsets me, Renee, another thing that upsets me is that I have been on the interwebs trying to order this mug for more than 6 months now, and I've not been able to get one, and you come out here and you tell me that it's no longer available? What kind of crap is that? Disgusting. That mug. Yes.
Right. Renee, I try not to point too many fingers because I'm new to this, man. But like, are you trying to make sure we don't have guests going forward on the Wrestle Talk podcast? Like, we're trying to get to 500, and we can't do that if, you know, Stephen E isn't being accommodated for his podcast or for the podcast here tonight, and especially for his mugs. I mean, the tumbler. Okay, we need these sold, dude. What are you doing?
I'm biting my tongue here in 3 different spots, okay? Mainly because the fee alone, to even be able to reach out and get a hold of Stephen E's people was absurd. We literally blew the quarterly budget just to get the opportunity to schedule this appointment. But of course, Stephen E's not going to talk about that. But hey, you know what? We'll leave that off the table because those discussions should be saved for later. Number 1. Number 2, I appreciate you inferencing the Wrestle Talk podcast mug, but if you would have ordered it 6 months ago, sir, you would have had it 5 months and 3 weeks ago. So don't come in here lying. And here's the last thing I'll say. The ridiculous request. I mean, you guys see the space behind Stephen E. He's in a world-class suite with a library that's second to none. My man, he refused to have anything but blue M&Ms, okay, and Fiji water. Okay, you know how hard it is to find Fiji water in the hood? I had to go to 16 gas stations and bodegas to even find Fiji water. I do everything I can to accommodate this guest, and I get yelled at the minute this guy comes on. Do I disagree with the way you go about your business? Yes. Did I admit that you're a wonderful and highly successful businessman? Yes. But so is Donald Trump, and that dude's borderline the devil to some people.
Let me explain something to you, Renee.
Listen, fine.
Let me explain something to you. I could be anywhere in the world right now. I could be on a beach in West Florida somewhere with a little drink that has an umbrella in it. But no. I'm right here at the Wrestle Talk podcast. So if you can't respect that, I don't know what to say to you.
Okay, you know what? I promised I was going to be respectful and cordial, and I think I've already failed in that department, Gabe. So let me catch my breath and do this. Let's keep it wrestling. Okay, because personally speaking, I definitely wouldn't invite you over to Thanksgiving dinner. You're more likely the kind of people I would run to in Halloween, shoplifting and taking the whole bowl of candy out of the front of people's house. By the way, I heard that you were up to that kind of nonsense, Santa Claus. I heard you were taking the whole bowl of candy, not taking your fair share. That's word on the street, and that's.
First of all, Renee, when it comes to Halloween, you know, Stephen E lights off I don't entertain children dressed up. I don't entertain adults that bring their kids to my front door and beg me for candy, so I keep my light off. That's what happens at the E-House right there. I don't entertain Halloween. The only jokes, the only people that are in costumes around here are people like yourself. You see, because Stephen E is here. Stephen E is ready to talk professional wrestling. Stephen E is ready to give you his opinion on the world of professional wrestling, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to touch on many subjects today, a few of them being the purchase of SICW, the Mid-States Wrestling Show that will be happening November 11th, and a couple of other things. So why don't we go ahead and continue? Why don't we go ahead and start this interview?
Okay, fine. You know what? I prefer it that way because I don't want to spend any more time talking about the underhanded tactics and you ripping off kids on Halloween. And of course, you're going to deny it because that's what people do. They deny. And clearly, the chat section, Mr. Stephen E., is firmly on my side. So regardless of what you and the Florida man over there think, the people are speaking for themselves. I mean, come on. You guys are reading what is on the screen, so you don't have to agree with the Night Owl. You don't have to agree with the Drip God, okay? But you're going to have to listen to the people because ultimately this podcast and professional wrestling, whether you guys like it or not, is about the fans and not your stinking egos, okay?
You want to talk about the fans? 23 years ago, Renee, when I broke into this business, somebody told me, do not listen to those people. Those people do not have your best interest in mind. Yes, 23 years ago when I broke in, a very, 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 very smart man told me, don't you listen to a word they say. They're all liars. They all they don't care what happens to you in this business. All they want is to be entertained night in and night out. They don't care what you put your body through. They don't care about anything. So guess what? I don't care about them.
Whoa. Listen, I agree to put our differences to the side and let bygones be bygones, but you have to do me a favor whether you want to or not. Leave the fans out of this, Stephen E., because if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be buying the tumblers, they wouldn't be buying the mugs, they wouldn't be filling up the arenas. I know you guys have been doing work down in Southern Illinois, and by the way, my mistake, I forgot to shout out Illinois. I know this is going to really piss you off, Stephen E., because I know of all the places you've ever been to in the world that you hate the state of Illinois particularly, so I want to apologize to those people for not acknowledging them because I know you're about to trash them. I know how you get down.
I'll tell you what's going to happen, Renee. It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of when I'm going to buy this SICW. It's not about when I'm going to buy it. It's about how I'm going to purchase it. And I'm going to take this SICW that's been around for 40, 50 years, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to uplift it. I'm going to take it by its roots and I'm going to pull it out of Illinois and I'm going to take it to my investors in Saudi Arabia. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing once it gets over there.
Perfect. So let me interpret for everyone that didn't understand that nonsense. One, he's trying to desecrate one of the greatest promotions to ever exist in American history. He's trying to desecrate the Chase. Of my people of St. Louis, open your ears and listen to the Night Owl. He's trying to desecrate the Chase for who? For a bunch of wealthy oil tycoons, not in good old America, not in down south in Texas or in Florida. No, Saudi Arabia. That's who this guy represents. You heard it straight out of his mouth. Gabe, do you have any defense for this nonsense? I don't know how you're going to sit over there and stand behind this nonsense. I don't get it. I really don't see how.
Look, Renee, I mean, you of all people should understand how to play devil's advocate. And I think devil's advocate is a strong word for that because Saudi Arabia, are we just going to ignore that the last WWE pay-per-view didn't just take place there and sold for how much money over the dollar? And this man's coming onto our podcast and is trying to do the very same for SICW. And look, I understand, okay, there is a lot of history attached to this sort of thing, but I also understand that a businessman, especially one such as Mr. E himself, understands you gotta crack a couple of eggs to make the omelet, Renee, and you know it's the only way you're gonna get ahead of this.
Just so we're clear, the fans are those eggs that you guys are so happy to break. I can't get behind this rationale. But you know what? I do have a couple of questions. Are you open to even answering any questions, or are you going to continue to try to talk down to us here, Stephen E?
Absolutely, I'm open to talk to you guys. That's why I'm here, Renee. But before I answer anything, I want to tell you, Gabe, that I am absolutely impressed with your banter. The way that you have answered some of the questions that have been put out there by Renee, it makes me think that there is a world that customer service and that people have not what is the word I'm looking for? They haven't forgot how to take care of business. You, my friend, are somebody who can take care of business. And when I do purchase SICW, you, my friend, might be into a job.
What? Poaching my guys? Poaching my guys? Come on, man. This is ridiculous.
I'll give you my number, Chief.
There you go. There you go. You know, when we buy SICW, we're going to be expanding. Who's to say that you couldn't be our VP of our Florida market? Wow.
VP, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Impressive.
At all. I do have a question. The piano, Stephen E. Can you even play the piano? Why was that necessary? Really, you need a whole house? A dressing room wasn't good enough? A piano? Seriously, you care to explain?
Listen, the piano is there because if I want somebody to come over and sit down and play me a little Canon in D or some Interstellar or something beautiful, some good classical music, then they can do it. That's what the piano is there for, pal. You, my friend, what'd you say earlier? You live in the hood? You have no idea.
I'm from the hood. I don't live in the hood. I'm from the hood.
Sophistication and class is this right here to my left, to my right, actually. That's sophistication. That's class right there, my friend.
Oh my gosh. Well, Gabe, now you're getting the backlash from the fans as well. Are you proud of yourself getting behind a guy like this, man? I try to explain to you what this guy was all about, and you completely ignored me. You went down the rabbit hole. You started watching matches, and I want to give you an opportunity to jump in on this because you were just about giddy as Taylor Swift at a Travis Kelce game. Okay. Talk to us a little bit about your research about Mr. Stephen E. and why you became such a big fan all of a sudden. Sounds rather convenient to me. You two make me sick.
Look, Renee, if you must know, I was looking into your management, and as a newbie, I'm still a little new to the SICW crew and individuals related there. But a name that I hear coming up a lot is Attila Khan, and so if you could tell us, what do you gain from having Attila Khan as your clientele, and do you see him achieving anything major in SICW in the future?
Gosh, Gabe, do I see him doing anything major? I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm not going to hold it against you because you just said that you're an SICW newbie, but he is a two-time SICW Classic Heavyweight Champion. Two-time. He is arguably the most dangerous wrestler on God's green earth. This man right here, trained under the infamous Harley Race. This man right here, if I had to describe him in any way, it would be, imagine if Bruiser Brody and, let's say Abdullah the Butcher had a kid, right? And Harley Race was the babysitter. That is Attila Khan right there. That, my friend, is why Attila Khan is so great. He is somebody that it doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what type of match he's involved in. He's going to adapt to the style. He's going to turn it into an Attila Khan match, which is going to be blood. It's going to be brawling. It's going to be a fight. That's what makes Attila Khan so great, is that he's so tough. You can be a great technical wrestler, but if you don't have the heart, if you don't have the toughness, it's all for nothing. When you've got that toughness and then you throw in the technical ability that he possesses and you throw in the toughness and the fact that he is just a mean man, you don't need anything else. That is a perfect recipe for the wrestler that we have in the modern day today. That man right there can go anywhere and just walk out with a victory. He's Attila Khan. He's great. His contract, when I purchased his contract from Travis Cook, it wasn't cheap, but there was bidding wars going throughout the nation for Attila Khan's contract, and I actually was fortunate enough to receive the highest bid. And of course, as you guys know, I don't know if you know, I am backed up by the government, the Saudi Arabian government, and they have given me an open checkbook. They said, we want you to go out and find the best talent that there is in the world of professional wrestling, because we want you to take our flag, because that's what we do. At the end of our matches, when we beat an American wrestler, we lay them on the ground right there in front. After we win, we take that flag and we throw it over them. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a Saudi Arabian flag or an Iranian flag, Afghanistan flag, a Syrian flag, a Palestinian flag. It doesn't matter. If they want to put the money up, then we'll put the flag over the opponent.
Just, I get
Speechless,
chills
aren't you?
trying to talk. It really
Speechless, aren't
does.
you?
It really just the fact that you're able to show up on the show and Renee didn't scare you off. I really appreciate it, and I'm only glad to know that I'm at the tip of the iceberg as
Let
far
me
as
tell you about
SIJW
the
is
first
concerned.
time I ever met Renee. We were at Cauliflower Alley Club. Renee, you're going to be able to vouch for this right here, my friend, because you were there. So I'm sitting there, right? You know what's coming.
Okay, no, listen. I talked to your people, and we specifically discussed that we weren't going to talk about this on the air, Stephen E. Are you really going to go and break this?
I didn't get a memo. I don't have.
Oh, that's convenient. You know what? I don't have to hear this. I'm just
my people. Barry Boone called me and
trying to
told me
rob the
that
show
I had
for
an
getting
open
the story,
that I had an open book that I could talk about anything and everything, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm talking about anything and everything. So we're at Cauliflower Alley Club, right? Me and another man, I don't remember who it was, and Jimmy Hart, the man. You know who I'm talking about, Jimmy Hart. Everybody knows WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Hart.
Come on,
You know,
now you're crossing the line. Now that's disrespectful. How are you going to come on a wrestling podcast and ask us if we know who Jimmy Hart is?
I was just simply asking if you guys know. I just wanted to set the stage. So, anyways, we're sitting there, and this young lady comes up to us. Right? She comes up to us, and she looks at us, and she goes, "Well, Stephen E, I know you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be here, and Jimmy Hart, you're supposed to be here. But I don't know about this guy. Who is he? You need to kick rocks and go." And he just kind of backed out and turned around and walked off. And that's how the story goes. I don't know what type of nonsense he's been spewing for the last, year or two. It's been 2 years since that. But that's the truth, and you heard it from the horse's mouth right here.
I mean, is there any validation of that claim, Night Owl? I mean, you're coming across pretty quiet after this story. Do we?
Yeah, that actually did happen.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so you can verify.
Yep. Yeah, he can verify it. And that right there validates everything that I say. Everything that I speak is truth. That right there is a validation for that right there. So here moving forward, just understand that everything that I talk about, everything that I say is truthful and is on the level.
I believe it. And I trust me. I guess you could say I got a little bit of starstruck in my eyes, if you can't tell, Stephen. But it's a pleasure to be able to talk to you on the podcast, and I guess I'm just trying to push as far as. Wait, Renee was known by many members of Cauliflower Alley Club. Yeah, many members, but not enough to be called out by Mr. Mouth of the South himself.
Okay, you know what? I wasn't gonna say nothing, but gloves are off, and I'm only gonna say this. The young lady who walked up and said, "Hey, do you?" Well, actually, she was quite nice about it, and stunning. Her name happens to be Alundra Blaze, okay? And and we were backstage. I was with not this goon, but a true entrepreneur in the pro wrestling world. The hardest working man in professional wrestling today, the Space Cowboy himself.
That's right. That's who that other person
That's right.
was.
You see, you want to be a prick and not provide details. I was hanging out with Jason Jones, and we were talking about making moves, you know what I'm saying, getting business done, what dudes do when they're trying to get things, moving in the right direction respectfully. Stephen E. intrudes in our conversation where myself and Jason Jones are talking to Jimmy Hart, comes around and starts trash talking me like I'm some bum, and then Alundra Blaze happens to walk in. She recognizes Steven from, picking behind the trash can at some Quick Trip somewhere, thinks she recognized him as someone credible, and looks at me and goes, "Hey, you guys do you guys know him?" I said, "Hey, I'm out of here. I'm a fan." They were getting ready to do their autograph signing. Not only was Alundra Blaze classy, she was beautiful, and she was very respectful. So don't let Stephen E. sell you this story that I got kicked out like some fanboy. I am a gentleman through and through, sir. I took my leave because it was my time. I wasn't a talent that was booked. I happened to be showing up there as an admirer and as a fan. So don't buy this propaganda from Stephen E. Starting to sound more like CNN every single second I hear this man talk. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Renee,
Did you think I wasn't going to stand up for myself?
I'd be more inclined to believe you if every member of the Wrestle Talk podcast didn't have a story about you not keeping your word on a lot of things. So,
bro, it was a Lunger Blaze. You don't believe me?
it's not that I don't believe you. It's not that I don't believe you. It's that I can't believe you, Renee.
What are you talking
What
about?
he is saying, Renee, what he is saying is that there is somebody who is telling him this story that is more credible than you. That's me. Everybody knows that when I say something, that you might as well take it to the bank. And that's what
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
I tell you what, I'm sure you've got some other questions to ask. Go right ahead and ask your questions. Let's move along. I've got things I need to do.
Listen, that's fine, but you're being paid to be here, and we've got a solid 15 minutes left. So quit your crying. See, now we got you in the corner. Okay, now we got you guys are getting awfully defensive now when the truth starts to come out. But you know what? Like I said, I'm a professional. We're gonna keep it cordial, and we're gonna stick to wrestling because you guys know when it comes to truth, you're going to lose that battle. Okay, my turn. Mid-States Wrestling, Stephen E. You have a long history with this organization. Shout out to Arkansas. Also been in the house here tonight. And clearly you're paying people off to drop comments like this, but it's fine. We appreciate the interaction anyway. Guys, remember to hit follow, hit the share button. You know what to do. WTP all day. Let's talk wrestling. Stephen E., Mid-States Wrestling. You've had your ups, you've had your downs. Where do you stand now currently in probably one of the highest profile promotions in all of the Midwest today?
Are you kidding? Where do I stand? I stand at the top of the card over there at Mid-States Wrestling, Renee. For 21 years, I have been a staple in Mid-States Wrestling. For 21 years, I have been one of the baddest of the baddest of the baddest of the baddest guys to walk down that aisle. Everybody knows that. Mid-States Wrestling, if you want to know the truth, Mid-States Wrestling has got to be one of the hottest promotions in the Midwest right now. I mean, look at the production. Look at the talent that goes to Mid-States. I mean, you've got people like Austin Molentano. You've got people like the Silverback Big Joe Helms. You've got people like the connoisseur Niles Planquet. You've got people like the villain Tim Rockwell. I mean, I could go on and on and on. The fact of the matter is that Mid-States Wrestling is one of the best promotions in the Midwest, maybe even in the whole United States, maybe even the world. You always hear about the top 2, top 3, top 4 promotions in the United States. It's safe to say that I think that Mid-States is in that top category for whatever professional wrestling company that you're talking about. They are just a hot company. They're selling out crowds. I think in the Springfield market, Springfield, Missouri market, I believe we're at like 18 or 19 sellouts, which is pretty awesome, But at the end of the day, I think that a lot of the success that Mid-States has gotten is off of my shoulders. I brought in people like, the villain Tim Rockwell, and I have accompanied him to the ring, and I have made sure that everybody is tuning in each and every week to be able to say that this is the best professional wrestling in the world or in the United States or in the Midwest, however you want to put it. We are on fire in Mid-States Wrestling. Let me just say that.
Finally, you know what? Finally, some truth comes out of your mouth. Listen, with all due respect to everybody else in the Midwest, everybody does great work. If you're going to start ranking, which I don't know, maybe the Wrestle Talk podcast should do. Who knows? Maybe we'll get into that business. I'm sure it'll make us a lot less popular. But if I was going to make a list starting today, Gabe, we need your list from the Southeast at some point. Mid-State Wrestling is absolutely up there. The consistency, and let's talk numbers a little bit, Stephen E. At every show, we're in the hundreds, the several hundreds in attendance on a regular basis. And this is where we maybe ungarb ourselves a little bit and just talk real here. It is something to speak about when you can consistently bringing several hundred people to your show, Stephen E. You've been to shows all over the country, and you've been very, very successful doing so. And by the way, for those who understand the real, all the fans are very proud of everything you've been able to accomplish. whether they like your tactics or not. It's pretty extraordinary. What sets a promotion like that apart? What sets an MSW, what sets an SICW apart from some of the other places without disparaging anyone from your perspective? What is that difference? Is it attention to detail? You talk on it. I'd love to hear about that.
We could go on and on and on about what makes SICW, what makes Mid-States, different than the rest of the promotions. And I'm certainly not taking anything away from some of these other promotions. They're great promotions, but when it comes down to the attention to the detail, it's not even, I don't think it's the attention to the detail. It's who is in charge. And I don't want to give him too much credit, but the hardest working man in pro wrestling, Space Cowboy Jason Jones, is just a measuring stick for the promoters in professional wrestling. And again, when you talk about promoters in professional wrestling, you got to look no farther than Herb Simmons. He is the godfather of professional wrestling in St. Louis. And, it really is truly an honor for me to get up there and to practice my craft in front of a different market, in front of a market that is so legendary in the world of wrestling. I was a West Coast boy growing up, so I caught a lot of WWE and stuff like that. And coming back here and getting up to St. Louis and realizing, I knew St. Louis was a hotbed. I knew it was a hotbed very early on. I knew that, but I didn't understand how much of a hotbed it was until I finally got up into Southern Illinois and St. Louis to work. I love working up there. It's my home away from home. I'm up there at least 2 to 3 times a month, and I have so much fun, up there. But to answer the original question, it's the promoters, guys. That's what makes a company great. The promoter. If the person who is calling the shots and doing everything from getting the street teams together, putting the flyers up, promoting the shows. How many times have you guys seen a show on a Friday night, and you're like, oh, this show's on a Saturday. This is the first I've seen it. That's not something that you're ever going to find with Herb Simmons or Jason Jones, because if you are following them, you're going to know about their shows weeks, months in advance. And, that's something that's great for the fans, that they can actually they can actually prepare for it, because in the landscape that we have today, guys, money isn't it's not growing on trees, guys. And for them to be able to lay that out months in advance, or even a month in advance, and give you the opportunity to save, especially if you're a family of, let's just say 4. You're a family of 4, obviously, you're going to be spending some money at one of the wrestling shows. And we love that you choose us to come, spend your hard-earned money at. But at the same time, I've worked shows where I was convinced that the promoter had canceled the show, and then we get a call at 11:30 saying, "Hey, what time are you guys going to be here?" "Oh, shoot, we haven't seen anything about it, and we thought that it was canceled." So, fortunately, we still had enough time to get down to where we needed to get to and do it. But when we got there were 15 people in the audience. So when it comes down to what makes the promotion great, it's the promoter, man. I mean, bottom line.
Alrighty. Well, that was very good insight on your end, Steven. I actually wanted to ask you a question on behalf of the Wrestle Talk podcast, since we still have you for a little bit. But I was wondering if you'd be interested in joining us for the Wrestle Talk podcast trivia show challenge.
Oh, absolutely, man. You know what? Let me tell you a story about my trivia. Okay. A young 12-year-old Stephen E. in California, just like I said, we used to go to the supermarkets, and we would open up the PWIs, right? And they always had the phone number on the back of the PWI. Now, very few people have heard this story, but it is a true story. They had that number on the back of this thing, and I called it as a kid, as a 12-year-old, and it was a 1-900, so it was a pay per minute or type gimmick or whatever. Well, anyways, I did it, and I did it for a couple of weeks, not knowing how many minutes or hours I probably spent on the phone. Well, my grandmother calls me into the house one day, and she is very upset because our phone bill came in, and our phone bill was extremely, extremely high. But the shining light in this situation is that I actually won a PWI satin jacket. And I never got to wear it. Yeah, I never got to wear it. You know, that thing right now, if I had that right now, that would be in a shadow box somewhere, like on a wall somewhere like that. But my grandma, I can remember my grandma was so pissed off about that. She was like, you know, this is my jacket. This is, I think it was, she called it her $500 jacket, since that's how much I had spent on our phone bills. So, yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys are ready for Stephen E. when it comes to trivia.
I am, although I had just remembered I had one more question, and I wanted to ask.
Fire away.
Yeah. No, by the way, I actually have like 2 more questions, and they'll be quick, but I know, and we will get to the game show challenge, but Stephen E., he's got some more questions to answer yet, so let's not let him off the hook so quickly, because again, time is money. So go ahead, Gabe.
Well, I had wondered, because you had mentioned the SICW Classic Championship, and I believe the current holder is a one Big Texan, and I had the opportunity to check out your Facebook, and there's a specific photo you had happened to take a very big Western lariat from a Big Texan, and I have to ask, what are your thoughts? I don't know if Renee is able to pull it up, but I wanted to ask, what were your thoughts, you know, after taking that? I mean, how does one prepare themselves for something like a big lariat?
Let me explain something to you, Gabe. You can never prepare yourself for something like that. We were at a capacity. I mean, I'm talking, brother. It was capacity. You know, we were at the historical MAC, the Missouri Athletic Club, in downtown St. Louis. It was an absolute gorgeous building. It was something that really, really, really was special to me, because I had only heard about these shows prior to this one right here. So I got there. I got involved into the match just because let's just say I shouldn't have, but I did. And the end result was me catching a lariat from the Big Texan, and it was not good. I was in a neck brace for the better part of 10 days. I have actually spoken with an attorney about that, and I am in the process of getting a cease and desist letter written, because I want to present that to the SICW locker room, because in the last couple of months, they've been putting their hands on me, and I am not a professional wrestler by any means of the word. I am not a professional wrestler. I am a licensed manager. So once they put their hands on me, it's different. I am treated different than a licensed professional wrestler. I have civil rights that are being violated when somebody comes up. I mean, for real, Gabe, if somebody came up and just punched you, would you be happy with that?
Well, I certainly would not, and I can only imagine if you wouldn't want to get punched, you certainly wouldn't want to get clotheslined by a Big Texan. I mean, that's
absolutely not
common sense. I mean, what do they
absolutely
expect in SICW?
I lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because I had to stay home from work for 10 days. For 10 days, I stayed home. It was ridiculous.
I can't even imagine leaving work for at least even one day. So the fact that they put you on the shelf for 10 days, it's unbelievable to think. But that was what I had left. Renee, I mean, you had a couple more questions to ask. I really do hope.
Renee, you saw it. You saw the photo. You know what I'm talking about. He had no business putting his hand. It was assault. That's what happened. That's what it was. It wasn't lariat. It was assault.
I have it set as the background to my phone.
You know, and let me touch on something else, Renee. Let me touch on something else. Let me touch on something else. You know, obviously you're taking humor and you're laughing about what happened a couple of weeks ago at the MAC. I bet that you're one of them people that are laughing and hamming it up because Herb Simmons fined me today $1,000 because I put my hands on a guy in the ring. It's ridiculous. I didn't put my hands on him first and foremost, but Uber Destroyer did. You put that picture up. That's ridiculous. Like, I don't even know why you would do this.
What AI generator did you ask to spit this out? Is this set up, Renee?
No, I mean, like, where did you find this image? You're like, I don't know if Renee can pull it up. I pulled it up. Now you're pissed off at me? Make up your freaking mind, Gabe. You're talking.
I tell you what. You know, if there's anything in this world that upsets me more than looking at that picture, it's actually seeing that Aaron Wallace is on this chat and he says that I deserve to be touched. Are you kidding me, Aaron Wallace? You don't have the right to even comment to me about anything. You understand? You, my friend, need to mind your P's and Q's and mind your business, and don't you ever say anything bad.
Easy, Stephen E. Easy, man. Bro, you forget to take your medication today, my guy? Relax, okay? Let me ask you a question on behalf of Aaron Wallace and the rest of the fans. There are rumors that if you do succeed in purchasing a SICW, that you're going to ban certain fans from attending the shows. Can you confirm or deny the fact that you will be banning certain fans that don't agree with your nonsense if you do indeed take over one of these organizations, including SICW? I'd love to know the answer.
Renee, let me explain something to you. Will I confirm or deny that I'm going to boot some fans? Absolutely, I will confirm. Aaron Wallace, the moment that I purchase SICW, you're 86th, pal. You're done. You, my friend, are done. Jessica Simmons, you're another one. You're done. You're gone. Jalen Hendricks, you're gone. Tyler Cooley, you're gone. That's 4 of them right there. I have a laundry list of people that I will not allow back into the arena, and that is a fact, Jack. Those people right there get on my everlast nerve. You understand? Tyler Cooley, that little punk, he's going to come in here and he's going to spew off this, that, and the other. It's not going to happen. He will never, ever step foot in an SICW arena again. Aaron Wallace, you remember this, pal. You don't have the right. You don't have the right to come out here and call me out on anything, pal.
So then, without any shame or respect, you are basically saying that you're going to be kicking out paying fans from your shows because they don't agree with you? Stephen E., are you out of your mind? I thought you were a good businessman.
I'm an excellent businessman, Renee. Let me explain to you. Let me give you a little bit of insight, okay? Everybody knows what's going to happen whenever I do take SICW over. You know, I've said it in the past. We're going to bring in cameras. We're going to bring in smokes. We're going to bring in lasers. We're going to bring in everything that we see on Monday night. But with that said, we're going to have to do a couple of things different. We're going to have to raise the ticket prices. So I'm not going to have to kick these people out. They're not going to be able to afford to come into our shows. In fact, the only people that I can see that will be able to afford to come to an SICW show in the future is the beautiful people of Saudi Arabia. Because quite frankly, it would be a dream of mine to pick SICW up and move it over to Saudi and let some people that are going to enjoy. You've seen what happened at Crown Jewel this weekend. You've seen the capacity audience that was there. Imagine if we took some great wrestling to Saudi Arabia, what the response would be. Oh, man.
What the Ghetto Sinbad? Bro, what the fuck? What this disrespectful bullshit? Oh, fuck. All right. Stephen E., your minions are many and they're plenty. This is ridiculous. First of all, Sinbad is an entertainment legend. So don't you ever disrespect Sinbad. Number 2, I'm Mexican, bro. I'm not even black. Are you stupid? Are you dumb as rocks, bro? Oh my God. These are your constituents, Stephen E. I hope you're proud. I hope you're proud.
Absolutely. You know what, Paul? Why don't you go ahead and send me a DM? Why don't you go ahead and send me your address, and I will get an 8x10 sent to your house of myself, Attila Khan, Sheik Prater, you name it. It doesn't matter. We'll even get Derek Stone in there. How about that? And I'll even make sure that the Uber Destroyer signs that thing for you.
Hey, can you send me one in case I run out of toilet paper? Can you send me?
Dave, how can you work with somebody so hostile? You know, do you guys have an HR department? Because if you do have an HR department, I think Renee over here needs to go see him because he's talking to me like I'm a second-class citizen, and that's not the way that it is.
I ask myself that a lot every single podcast that I'm able to be on with here, and I'm going to be honest, I think he's the reason the HR person quit. So unfortunately, I'm stuck with him until I can find some replacement. But believe me, I'm definitely putting in some applications for tonight. Maybe they'll appreciate me over in other areas.
And you know what? Things are about to get even worse for you, Stephen E., because we're just a couple of seconds away from the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. And if it ends up being you versus me, Papi, you're going to be in big trouble. Did you hear me, man? You cockroach.
Now, before we get there, before we get to the trivia challenge, I need to ask Herb Simmons out there a question. Herb, you have been dodging my phone calls for the past 3 weeks. I need to speak with you about the letter that I handed you a couple of weeks back on SICW TV. You see, that was a legitimate offer, Herb, and you have yet to get back to me. I know that I've seen you a couple of times at shows, but I don't know if you are doing your best to try to avoid me or what the deal is, but we need to close on SICW. My investors in Saudi Arabia are dead serious when they say they've got the money to back up that figure that we were talking about. You know dang well that that's a legitimate offer. Everybody saw what Travis Cook had to say. Everybody saw that. So Herb, please reach out to me. I'd like to get this done before the new year, simply because if we can get it done before the new year, I can avoid some tax issues and we can just get it done.
No. Trying to expunge the final quarter budget from your puppet masters. I see what you're doing. You're not the only person in business here. I see you trying to liquidate your last quarter of the year as you work towards the fiscal 2024 year in your budget. I see how you operate, Stephen E. I'm watching you, buddy. Okay. And clearly people have your attention and you have their attention because we have Austin here. And I do want to get a comment from you on this before we move on to the game show challenge. I want to make sure I pronounce this properly. Austin Multitalo.
Mulitalo, Jack. That's what it is. It's not Mulitalio.
Is it Italian? Is it Italian? Mulitalo?
No, are you kidding? Do some research on this guy. Do some research.
Well, educate me, Stephen E., since you happen to kind of have your dirty little nose into every little crevice of the pro wrestling world. Tell me about Austin and what does a guy like that need to do to impress someone like you, my liege?
I tell you what Austin Molentano needs to do is just show up to the next Mid-States show. That's what he needs to do to impress somebody like me. He doesn't have to impress somebody like me. I'm already impressed by him. You see, I've been following his career for the better part of a year. That's right, a year I've been following this kid. And this kid right here could literally be the future of professional wrestling, especially here in Missouri. This kid right here, at the last Mid-States show, he took Colton Vaught, the Missouri Mid-States heavyweight champion, to the limit. He even took his belt. He claimed his belt. So right now, Austin Molentano is walking around with that Missouri Mid-States heavyweight championship. And this weekend, I hear that there might be a couple of surprises in the corner of Austin Molentano. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But the kid is a absolute stud. He is a monster. He is a machine. He is young. He is great looking. I mean, look at this kid. Look at him. Why in the world would you not want to hide your girlfriends when he walks into a room? Seriously, look at him. He's a great looking kid. He's an up and comer. This kid right here is the future of the business in Missouri. That's for sure.
Okay, you know what? And I don't disagree with that. Because Austin Molentano is talented, and I couldn't pronounce the last name, but I am familiar. Come on, man. Don't disrespect me. I run a podcast for a reason. I know what's going on in my area. But Don, okay, you're no better than Mark McGuire. You cheater. You're taking shortcuts and siding with this freaking bum. Oh, sorry, this side. This freaking bum. Nobody scares me. You know who scares me? Alundra Blaze. I will admit that because I'm a respectful guy and I understand talent. When I says, Gabe, I see you laughing, bro.
Now Renee, you want to talk? You want to talk about respect? You want to talk about respect in this business? I want to introduce you to my good friend, Don McGuire. Don McGuire is a UFC photographer. He is a Hall of Fame MMA person that is just, you can look on any, I remember it was about 5 years ago. I was listening to Don tell me a story about how he was just signed a 4-fight deal with the UFC to go take pictures for him, yada, yada, yada. And guess what? About 3 days later, Dana White tagged that man in a photo and said, "Thank you, Don." So when he comes onto your podcast the next time, you show him a little bit of respect. You understand?
Look, Stevie, you always change. Gabe, I can't believe you're allowing this to happen. You're changing the narrative. I'm not questioning a man's
allowing
resume.
This to happen. It's your show, bro.
It's my show. It's our show. It's not the Renee Talk podcast. It's the Wrestle Talk podcast. And this is blasphemy because you know what? I'm not questioning Don's resume. All I'm saying is I'm not scared of this man. When Alundra Blaze steps in the room, a man knows when to shut his mouth and step aside. I'm not trying to get my ass whooped by a lady. Especially not a pretty lady, okay? It's not
Well-
fear, brother. It's respect. Don't get it twisted.
Well,
Don't
Renee,
get
you
it.
saw how I handled that situation, didn't you? I looked at her and I said, I'm not going anywhere, Alundra.
You didn't say a damn thing. Now you're just accentuating the facts. Calm down, Roger Clemens. Okay? Relax. Okay, are we ready for a game show challenge? Because I want to know who's facing who. I'm tired of hearing this guy's nonsense. And honestly, at some point, I'd like to hear some truth and some facts come out of somebody's mouth during this podcast besides myself and the members of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. You guys are out of line completely.
Well, Renee, according to
It's
my,
the Night Owl, okay? I'm sick of you calling me by my government name. Tired of it.
I think we've struck a chord with Mr. Night Owl tonight, Mr. Steven. So tonight,
Such a
I
sucker.
have been informed actually that Renee, you are having the opportunity to face off against Mr. Steven E in our trivia challenge tonight. So
Oh, Lady Destiny is in my corner, boys. This is
I think you finally have a chance to let your actions speak louder than your words have been for the podcast tonight.
the only thing I'm afraid of is that if Steven and I are going one-on-one, that means you're officiating it, and I wouldn't be shocked if he paid you off like he's paid off so many other refs in this business.
I wouldn't want any other person in the world other than Gabe to officiate this, because I know if there's somebody out there that's going to call it down the middle, it's going to be Gabe.
Yeah, let's trust the guy whose last name is Arson. Let's trust that guy. Great idea.
It's Arsene, Lupin Arsene. You would
Was it like
understand
Spanish
this.
or something? Is it
It's
Spanish?
it's a book from France. You would know that if you knew what books were, my friend.
Wait a minute. I know what books are. I'm not sure what France is, but I know what books are. I've counted a few in my day, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, I would like to start us off then, gentlemen. Welcome to this week's installment of the world famous
Wait. There's music. I think there's music.
Whoops.
I think
We
there's
have
music. Boys in the back, you know what to do. Go ahead and cue us up for tonight's edition, episode 457 of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge.
All right. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to this week's installment of the world famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants are Stephen E. and the Wrestle Talk Podcast's very own, the Night Owl, Renee Martinez. In a few moments, I will ask you 3 questions about a particular professional wrestling topic. Whenever you think you know the answer to this question, shout out your answer. The first person to win 2 falls will win tonight's Game Show Challenge. So tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is otherwise known as. I will give you information about 3 professional wrestling personalities.
Whoa. Otherwise known as what?
Otherwise known as. So I was going to give you guys okay, I have it written down. It says I will give you information about 3 professional wrestling personalities who have had more than one identity. So I guess I can think of a better.
Okay, so the clues you're going to be giving us pertain to wrestlers with more than one identity.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, we're good to go, Gabe. I actually have an ability to think beyond abstract thought, so I understood the moment that you said it, unlike Renee. So, let's go ahead and go.
I'm ad-libbing for the fans. Ad-libbing
just
for the
want to
fans,
make
but
sure
you
that
clearly
everybody
don't do that.
understands.
You guys are assholes, both of you. It's facts.
All right, gentlemen. Are you both ready?
I was
It
born
looked like
ready,
it's out
Gabe.
of my love shack. What the hell's wrong with these people? You guys are.
All right, so question 1, gentlemen. This late professional wrestler is a WWE and WCW Hall of Famer. He was known as Stardust, the Midnight Rider.
Dustin Rhodes.
The
Cody
winner
Rhodes.
the winner of the first fall, Renee Night Owl. All right, so we're up to
what happened, Stephen E? What happened, bro?
I'm starting to wonder about the questions. You were pretty quick on that. Should we at least be able to finish the question before?
You're right. You're right. I apologize.
I'm saying, yeah.
No. See, Gabe, this is why I knew that letting you do your research on Stephen E, this was going to be unhealthy, because the moment I started to defeat this man and we started going down the path of truth, there was going to be some exposure that happened. So this is the way that it usually works. When the clues go out, smart guy, as soon as you think you know the answer, you just shout it out. That's the way it works.
So are we just making these rules up as we go along? Is that like the deck seems like it's stacked against me? You know, the last time I went out when we were at the Fan Fest, the deck was stacked against me. Attila Khan versus the Big Texan. You know, you had the Big Texan who happens to be from Texas. He was taking advice from Stan the Lariat Hansen, who happens to be from Texas as well. James Beard, the legendary Texas referee, was in the match. Like, the deck was stacked against me. I feel like that this is another example of the deck being stacked against me. What the heck is going on here?
Oh, you mean this kid, Gabriel Arsene, that's been nut hugging you the entire show? He's in my back pocket? Weren't you ready to hire this kid about 15 minutes ago? Weren't you giving him a job offer? Oh, the rooster has come home.
Hey. I'm just saying that if he values what I said earlier about having a job, he'll make sure the next question is answered by me.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to show you how real it gets around here for us cats that come from the hood. And you know what? I actually respect this comment tremendously. Shout out to you, Paul. That's pretty good. I've been called the bootleg Be Real too, so just put that one in your back pocket. Let's assume that first question was just a test question, because I know you probably got a backup question in case we tied or something. I know how this goes. I happen to host occasionally. Okay, so let's just assume that was a practice question. The slate is clean, and we start from here, because Stephen E, clearly, even though he thought he understood the rules, even though I tried to restate them for the benefit of everyone, now we're on an even playing field. So how about we start from here, gentlemen?
That's perfect. That's perfect, Renee. I just wanted to say, when you first laid the rules out, they were a little bit confusing. So I'm glad that we're starting over and that we can start on a clean slate, because that is the fair thing to do in this situation.
That's right. Now, Gabe, did you make a comment earlier about me not knowing what a book was? Anyway, let's go. Question number one.
Question.
You guys can kiss my ass. No, we're on number one. This is number one now, officially.
All right. So question one. This late professional wrestler is a WWE and WCW Hall of Famer. He was known as Stardust, the Midnight
Dusty Rhodes.
No, bro, we already answered this question.
Dusty Rhodes, I got that.
No, this was the sample question. We are now on to the official question number one.
Was that Dusty Rhodes, though?
We already answered this question.
It was indeed Dustin Rhodes.
No, I win.
No,
I won.
No.
That's not. I won.
No. Wait a minute. This is crazy. No. Gabe, that question is now done. That was our starter question.
I answered.
Move on to no. Jeez Louise, I hate you people so bad. Everybody watching is losing their minds about this right now. Gabe, we are moving on to the next question. That will be the official first. Are we good now?
We're good. We're good.
I heard the weed in Florida was good, but this is ridiculous. Anyway, let's go. All
right.
Question number
two.
One. No,
number
one.
One.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Am I not up 1-0 here?
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Well, somebody explain to me how I'm not up one, because you said, and I answered it right. Like, I just don't understand how I'm not up 1-0. But go ahead. We'll go ahead and start over for the sake of, for the benefit of making everybody out there happy.
Really? Oh my God. I can't believe this.
All right.
All right, go ahead, bro.
This is going to make a great highlight reel. Question 2. This late WWE Hall of Famer has been known as Black Tiger, Mascara Magica, and Latino Heat. Name
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie.
Oh, I think it's fair to say, Night Owl, I think Stephen, he got you that time.
I even waited to the last one. I knew it from the first syllable that came out of his mouth who it was. And I waited to give you a chance. And then I just at the last second, I don't even know if you really realized who it was.
And you feel like he's not generous enough, and he did that for you.
Did that for me. So I'm up 2-0 right now, right? So I win.
Fucking bullshit!
Oh my gosh, no! You're up 1-0. Stop lying.
Now we are up 1-0.
Oh my
We're
God.
not on Gabe math anymore.
This guy is crazy.
So now, question 2. This member of the WWE Hall of Fame has gone by the names of the Christmas Creature, Bruiser Mastino, Angus King, Isaac Yankum.
Kane.
Oh. All right. I think fall number 2 goes to Night Owl. So it's going to come down to the tiebreaker.
Shador
The
Sanders
last
on that
question.
ass, boy. That's right.
You know, I was actually going to say Glenn Jacobs, but at the last second, I decided to go with Kane. Had I just went with my original answer, I would be the winner, and you, Renee, would be done.
He wanted to make it look nice, Renee. He's giving you the rub here, all right? He needs to make it look like a dramatic finish. Okay,
Yo.
we're down to the last question.
Yo, there's a lady in the building. What are you talking about giving a guy the rub for? Pause, bro. What's wrong with you, man?
Hey.
Calm down. You gotta relax, my guy. This is
My
a family
friends,
show. Hello,
is Brittany Houtland, who is actually a great social media superstar here. I learned a lot of stuff from her at the Cauliflower Alley Club. I sat in on her little her social media thing that she had, and it was fantastic. Brittany, it's a pleasure to see you.
An honor. Truly an honor. Thank you for being here. Okay, so 1-1, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
1-1. We're down to our last question, gentlemen.
2-1. Is it? I thought I had 2. 2-1, right?
It's 1-1. It's down to the last question now.
Okay. All right.
I'll be sure.
See, even Herb thinks I'm a gentleman. Yeah, see, everybody knows.
Guys, let me give you some insight into Stephen E. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying hard enough.
I like that. That's kind of gangster.
Words to live by.
Let me just tell you.
Facts. Straight facts.
For the final fall of the night in the FWWC podcast challenge, gentlemen.
Game show challenge.
Game show challenge. Question number 3. This member of the WWE Hall of Fame has gone by the names of Jim Vertaroso, Super Olympia, and the Enforcer. Name him.
Terry Gordy. Gosh, that's the executioner, damn it.
The Enforcer?
No, Enforcer.
You got to give me more clues, bro. That was very vague.
Jim Vertaroso, Super Olympia, and the Enforcer.
He's Googling. I see it in his screen. He's Googling.
I would never cheat. I would never do that.
I don't know this answer. Do you have any more clues?
I've listed all 3. That's what I got.
Is there anything more recent on this person? Do you know?
I don't know how you get any more recent than the Enforcer. How do you guys not know this guy?
Who the hell's the Enforcer, bro?
Arn Anderson?
Thank you.
The Enforcer, Arn Anderson.
Stephen E.
What? Guys.
Got him. Got him.
You know what? No, hey. Let me tell you guys. Let me bask in my glory real quick and thank all of my supporters out there who have given me the courage and the strength to be able to come on here tonight and to defeat Renee in this trivia challenge. You know, I want to first thank Attila Khan, you know, for being there for me anytime I ever needed him. I want to thank Big Nasty Glenn Williams for always having the right things to say to me at the right times. I want to thank Niles Planquet for instilling that class and that sophistication into me. I want to thank, gosh, there's just so many people I want to thank for this victory right here. Now, will you guys be sending me a mug? Is that what I won?
Very, very impressive.
I'm not sending you shit, bro. I'm not sending, dude. You are so disrespectful. I answered that, but my microphone was muted. Everyone saw it. I mouthed it, but you and your listen, Gabe, you and me, we're gonna have to talk after this show, bro.
Hey, Renee, let me give you some words of wisdom. Excuses are like assholes. Everybody has them and they stink.
Oh, man. Come on, man. Hey, coming from a guy who thought he got a point on a question that had already been asked. Are you freaking serious right now?
I didn't realize that. I just knew that was Dusty Rhodes, so I just spewed out the first thing that came to my head. And
That's fine. You know what makes me happy? You might have won the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge, but you're definitely not going to win in court against Herb Simmons. And you and your shenanigans, whether it's at MSW, SICW, or wherever else you're working, it's just people are starting to see through it. I'm glad that you came on here and you volunteered yourself because, quite honestly, you've been exposed here tonight, Stephen E. People see you for what you are. You may be a borderline billionaire with pockets with no end, but people see right through you, sir, like cellophane. That's right, Mr. Cellophane. So congratulations on your win because it'll be very, very short-lived.
That, my friend, is not going to happen. That right there was just a small example of why I am in the position that I am. Everything that I have done in life, I have come out on top. I am a winner, something that you, my friend, obviously aren't used to doing. People like Tyler Cooley, people like Aaron Wallace, people like Jessica Simmons, they're not going to be at SICW anymore. They're not going to be able to come to these shows. I'm going to kick them out. And you, my friend, are on that short list of people who I may never, ever let into SICW again.
Stephen E., I only got a couple of words for you, my friend. It's actually 3 of them. Cut the check. Cut the check. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to give you an opportunity to blah, blah, blah your way out of here. Before I remove myself, I just want to say this. The Wrestle Talk podcast may be known for a lot of things, but we will always bring on the guests that the people want to see, no matter how sick to my stomach it makes me. We will continue to bring you the hottest and most relevant guests in the world of professional wrestling today, even if it's this overgrown, bearded jackass gnome known as Stephen E. M.O.C. Gabe, it's all yours.
Well, I really didn't expect to be left alone here to close out the podcast with you, Stephen, but here we are, and I just got to say I apologize a lot on behalf of Mata's, constant disrespect throughout the night. If it were up to me, it would just be me and you.
Disrespect.
Constant. It was very unprofessional, but I have to say the firsthand experience to be able to talk with you in an extended period, an extended program like this, to be able to hear, your side of the business right now, your firsthand experiences with Attila Khan and all that, and especially as far as what you're going to be doing in SICW with your further business purchases. I can't wait to see it. And, before we rise out the show tonight, was there anything else you needed to plug? Was there anything that we needed to, as far as, did you have any social medias that you needed to that I can, I can write down to try and follow?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. If you go and you look up Stephen E. on the old Facebook, then you should be able to find me. If you go to Mid-States Wrestling or SICW Explosion, you can find me on there too. Guys, Mid-States Wrestling, Saturday, November 11th, huge event here in Springfield. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it will be the 19th sellout that we've had here in Springfield. We're consistently drawing fantastic. In fact, I didn't tell you guys, but a couple of months back, we did a show for the Kansas Special Olympics, and it was a very, very awesome show. But one of the highlights for me that trip was being able to ride in the truck with Lex Luger for about 6 hours, which was kind of cool. And he was asking me the comic questions. What do you guys draw? That type of stuff. And and I told him, and he was just very impressed that we were consistently drawing what we draw, because in today's day and age and today's platforms, I guess, you're seeing, 200-300, 150 people at these wrestling shows. And he was just pretty impressive. We were drawing as many as we draw. And also SICW, man. I mean, SICW, we are drawing really, 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 really good. We're up there at the legendary Belclair Fairgrounds. I mean, I'm talking people like Bruiser Brody, the history in that building is just insane. And I'm quite honestly, I'm honored just to even be a part of the St. Louis wrestling scene up there. So it's very, very, very cool. But this weekend on November 11th, we've got a huge show here in Springfield at the Relics Event Center. Anybody who's in Springfield, man, stop on by and let us entertain you. We bring a certain level of entertainment to the fans that you can only catch at a mid-states wrestling show. I'm not taking anything away from the big guys, but a couple of weeks back we were at both shows. We got comps for both shows, so we were at the AEW show in Kansas City, and then the next week we were at the WWE show here in Springfield, and it is just a different experience. I'm not taking anything away from them, but it's a different experience what we have to offer. We're very interactive with the fans, and we have a great time. But those are the two companies that I'm working for right now. Is SICW, which is Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling out of St. Louis, East Carondelet, Belleville, Illinois. And then Mid-States Wrestling, which is based out of Harrison, Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, and Southern Missouri. And both of those companies right now are just on fire, boy. I can't say enough good things about those companies. They're both run by great promoters. Space Cowboy Jason Jones, hardest working man in professional wrestling by far. That man does not take a day off, man. And Herb Simmons, gosh, the last 2 years that I've been to the Cauliflower Alley Club, they specifically called out Herb's name twice during the banquets. One, to just say that, nobody's been promoting longer than Herb, at 50 or 60 years. And number two, if you didn't get a membership, that Herb was going to sick Attila Khan on you. And, he said that in front of, Mysterio, Conan, JBL, all these guys that are our peers. Brian Blair has so much respect for Herb that he said that. And if you follow Herb Simmons, just look at what Tito Santana had to say about him the other day. I mean, like you got Tito Santana, who has been to the dance and has been to the top organization in this sport, and he's putting over Herb. That just goes to show you what type of a person Herb is. And, I really look forward to being able to sit down to the business table and trying to hammer out this deal with Herb, because there's nothing more that I would like to do than to be the purchaser of SICW and to take SICW into the future. So Herb, if you're still with us, get a hold of me. Let's make this happen.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to shut. I'm going to step in just one last time and say, dear God, please don't ever let this happen, because, there was almost a saving grace there for you. You started talking about Special Olympics and all the amazing stuff that you've done, and then you just go and ruin it, Stephen E. I mean, I'm half waiting for you to put that damn turban on before the show's over, because I know how you get down. You don't have to, but we all know how you get down. We've seen you with Attila Khan. It's fine. And so there's only two last things I'm going to say. Number one, underneath it all, I think you're a damn decent guy whenever you put this ego and this nonsense behind you. Number two, it's an honor to welcome someone, even though I absolutely disagree with the way you go about your business. But it is an honor to welcome someone in as the newest member of the Wrestle Talk family who has a passion for this sport the way that you do. I know you're successful in your ventures outside of professional wrestling. Maybe we can get that into those things in interview number 2. I know Freemasonry is a big thing as a part of your life. I know working at the temple recently was a big deal for you. I know that's something that meant a ton. I know you're a family man as well. Those are things that we get into here on the show. So hopefully, now that we've got through this initial very, very difficult phase of our relationship, maybe we can actually get into some of the nitty gritty, because I think there's so much under the surface.
Make no mistake about all those great, nice things you said. You talked about the philanthropy that I deal with and all that other stuff. Make no mistake about it, that the one thing that I love more than anything else in this world is money. You understand that? I don't care about feelings.
That's why Herbs wants me in his corner.
Other than money.
See that message? That's why when you go to the negotiating table, the Night Owl may need to make an appearance to help with those negotiations. To make sure
tell you what, Herb, if you make the mistake of letting Renee go to the bargaining table for you, I've already won this right here, because that man Dunn admitted that he's from the hood. So what does that mean? That I can put out $1,500, $2,000, and that right there is enough money for you to go do what you want to do and go to the club that weekend.
You can't hustle a hustler. That's what that means. And don't you ever disrespect the hood, because don't you forget who's running the NFL halftime show now is Jay-Z. Somebody just like your boy from the streets. And we will not be playing. You can't play a player. You can't hustle a hustler, Stevie.
Let me explain something to you, Renee. I know what it feels like to be at the bottom. My parents were from, we're from the Upper East End of Manhattan, and we had to settle for a ground floor apartment one year, and that right there was absolutely ridiculous. So I'm not going to let you sit here and tell me that I've lived this high life my whole life. I lived on the bottom floor of an apartment complex in the Upper East End of Manhattan, and that, my friend, wasn't somewhere that I was proud to be.
And now you live in Saudi Arabia and you prefer it over the United States. Thank you again for making that crystal clear to the fans of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Stephen E., it was your pleasure, going back to how you started this interview, it was truly your pleasure to come out here and expose yourself in front of the members of the Wrestle Talk family. We're very, very excited, and I cannot wait for November 11th, 7 p.m., Springfield, Missouri, at the Relics Event Center, Mid-States. And, of course, SICW always on deck. Thank you to Herb. Thank you to all the listeners. And thank you, Gabe, for siding with a guy you never met before and trying to get into the pocket of a dude that you know is going to be able to take care of you, even though it means you're probably going to have to butter up, suck up, and placate to a guy like Stephen E. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Hey, Gabe, just make sure that when we get off here, you send me your Cash App. I've got a little something for you that I want to send over your way just to go ahead and show you how much I appreciate what you've done here. Because let me explain something to you. This show right here wouldn't be where it is without you. Without you, my friend. And you know what, Aaron Wallace? I didn't embarrass nobody. The only person that should be embarrassed is you, my friend. You should be the embarrassed one on here, not me. You know what, Renee? I've had enough of this. I'm done. You guys the contract has been fulfilled. I'm done. You guys can all just go to hell.
Never drew a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime.
What an absolute prick. What a jerk. You know what?
If we don't have a guest in the coming couple of shows, right? This is going to be the reason, right? Is because we try to do something. I try to do something nice for the show, and then you gotta get them all riled up. This could have been my door into the wrestling business for all we know. And now
you've done a great job of buttering up to Stephen E. and his organization, the Devastation Incorporated. Real great. I'm sure they'll have you in a suite in no time, up in the Midwest, running shows. Listen, I'm real proud of you, but at the same time, and that's sarcasm, I'm actually really disappointed that you would try to form an alliance with a guy like Stephen E. Sure, he's got a lot of money. Sure, he's extremely successful. Sure, he's working with the top names in the independent business. And I'm sure you're gravitating towards that. But what about honor? What about dignity? What about respect? No. It's not about any of that. It's about your stinking Cash App, Gabe. And I can't believe I'm saying this. For a guy whose last name is Arson, I've kind of expected it. But at the same time, I'm a little disappointed, man. I'm going to be honest with you. This is ridiculous.
I think you would have known me longer than that, Renee, if we're being honest here.
The prettiest girl in the party, huh? That's fine. That's fine. You know what? I like butter on my cornbread and on my biscuit. You can kiss my ass, Paul. Fuck you, you prick. Hey, everybody. There you go. That's how we're going to end it. Guys, episode 457 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. My wife's pissed off. My son should have been in bed an hour ago. But you know what? I love professional wrestling, and I love being here to do this with you guys every single week. Thank you for tuning in. We will absolutely see you guys next week for episode 457 right here on all of our social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and X. Thank you guys for being members of the Wrestle Talk family, and we certainly hope that we will see you here next week. All the replays available on all our social media platforms. Feel free to check those out throughout the week. Guys, we love you. We thank you. And peace.
like I'm a badass. Cause when I step on the stage, all the ladies wanna grab ass. It's got me feeling like I'm so fly. Cause you can act like you don't want it, but we're thinking as you walk by. It's just a game we play. Every city, every town.